All right, and we are live for another episode of Audiophiles Anonymous. My name is Andrew, and I am an audiophile. No, okay. We have, of course, Tyler, and then today our special guest, Antdroid. Actually, yeah, I haven't asked you guys. How are you guys doing? How's your? I haven't talked to Anthony in a while, so yeah, what's new for you?
I just work all day long now.
Yeah.
Like literally, I work 16 hours a day the last 3 or 4 weeks.
And that's still the same, like materials engineering stuff that you've always been doing, or?
Yep. Trying to make drones.
Trying to make drones. So that's
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yep. Yeah. But besides that, I've just been doing that. Run into Tyler every, I don't know, couple weeks or so.
Yeah.
We
You guys have your back alley dealings and stuff like
Yep.
that, right?
Yeah, he has to come near my work because I have no time to do anything.
I just sort of
Throw
picture
stuff
you
at
in a
each other.
trench coat with, like, you just open the trench coat, it's lined with, like, you know,
IEMs.
different IEMs that he hasn't tried. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what the Starbucks people think when we're in there.
Yes.
Oh man, I always wonder that too. Like when I go to, okay, I'm not gonna say what store. When I go to the store, I'm always wearing. I go to a store regularly, and I always wear different IEMs because like that's the best use of IEMs for me. Is like when I go out walking, and it's always a different one, and it's always something that looks, you know, oh, these are all tangled, but it always has a flashy look to it, right? And every time the person behind the counter says, "Wow, those are really cool earbuds," I'm now at the point where I'm a little bit self-conscious because I'm like, they notice it, they know.
I would treat it like I would treat like running into random people, and I would just hiss at them and see what they do, just to see.
Yeah,
I guess it's easier when I have a daughter with me. It's less.
yeah,
awkward.
you become totally you're less threatening that way. Hopefully, at least. Trench coat ant.
Trench
Okay,
coat
do you need an IEM? You want a drone? Yeah.
I think of Resident Evil, the Resident Evil guy, remember from 4?
Oh, I never played those games.
Oh man, it's super good. Well, especially that. Like that's how it's pretty.
I think last time I met up with Tyler, I brought a this like kind of half ripped up brown bag of like headphones and
Yes.
IEMs. It probably looked pretty shady.
brown bag in it with.
We did get weird, and then we chose like the most secluded spot in the Starbucks to like hide in, and we're like,
This is how I walk around these days. This is the IEM, the hat IEMs. We got, yeah. You probably can't see what's in there, but that's got the SA6.
There's like your dreads that pop out of your.
Yeah, it's just,
it's very cyberpunk of you.
yeah. I have not. You know what? Like everybody's hyped for that game in every corner of the internet. I've had zero interest. Maybe it's just me. I'm interested in it, but I don't want to, you know, get on that until they fix all the bugs and stuff like that.
Man.
Like I'll wait for a year.
I'm
I
waiting
just
to
want to
see
keep
if it'll
playing.
actually run on my computer.
Well, there's that
That's
too.
fine.
Yeah,
It
they got to
runs on
optimize
my-
stuff, right? So
Yeah, it does run on my 1080 Ti. I'm getting a 3070 today, hopefully.
3070. Oh,
Yeah, I
supply better for those.
no, I randomly just one of the guys from a different Discord was like he had an extra one for whatever reason, so he hooked me up.
Just casually an extra 3070.
I mean, he's been doing that for a couple of different people on the Discord that I'm in.
Yeah.
And so he just whatever the cost was, he just pay him for the cost and he ships it to you.
Yeah.
So pretty awesome.
Oh, that's cool. I'm liking my 3080. I gotta say, but
wish
I mean,
had
it's
3080.
it's not for it's for like rendering stuff. So I don't like I like it for that. I haven't really pushed it as far as the game stuff is concerned. Buddy of mine actually reached out to me. He was like, "Oh, you have a 3080. How's Cyberpunk?" I'm like, "I have no idea."
Why?
And he's like, "What? What are you doing?"
What's wrong with you?
Yeah,
So many people are just got angry, I'm sure, on that one.
yeah.
Triggered. A bunch of triggered. Do you triggered a bunch of people?
Yeah. No, I mean, to be fair, I do play Red Dead Redemption 2. I like the horseback
Horse
riding.
Simulator. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's pretty good for that.
Wood
Well,
chopping.
I-
That game,
Cowboy
that game
Simulator.
is so slow.
It's so
Oh,
slow.
it is
So
very
slow.
slow. Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing, right? It's also apparently the 3080 is not even the best card for that, but it works for me. Like, I don't know, looks good. So, yeah, we should probably talk about some headphones and stuff. Hey,
Eh,
What?
okay. I noticed we have kind of like we got the ZMF gang going
we got a
here.
matching set. Yeah.
ZMF opens, right?
The Opens gang.
Yeah, although yours are, what's the wood on yours?
Mine's zero coat, and I think you have. What do you have?
I'm mahogany.
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 Very
Wow.
unique.
I think you only made 3 of them.
Yeah.
This one is silkwood, I think.
Boring.
The default, right? I know.
You need a new one.
Vanilla. I need to get no, I'd get the closed. If I was gonna buy another one, I'd get the closed. Actually, I was gonna say, I've been doing a lot of reviews of the noise canceling headphones these days, like the PXC 552, did the XM4 a while ago, and now I've got 2 other ones in. I've got the Bose 700 and the QC35 to gaming. So I've got my head kind of like firmly in those headphones. We'll do the Apple one soon.
You're gonna be a consumer reviewer soon, huh?
Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense. I mean, I don't think we did this like deliberately, but it kind of makes sense. That the Apple one is coming out now, and so it's like good to have the frame of reference for like what else is there. But I don't think we did. It's just a coincidence, I think, unless they knew something that I didn't. But because the announcement was only like last week, right? So there was no way we could have known. But it's just funny because like using those headphones, the consumer headphones, for at least long enough to put together a review, kind of normalizes you to the like technical performance of those consumer headphones. And then when I went back to the Verite, I was like, oh my god, like this is what I've been missing, right? It was like how I don't know if I'd be okay being content with the consumer stuff if I'd ever heard something like this.
That's kind of the problem, right? Actually, at the end of the day, like once heard, it's hard to be unheard, kind of deal.
It's true, but your brain does. I mean, the brain's an amazing thing. It can normalize not just to tonal balance to within certain degree, but then also to the technical performance, right? You start to get used to that when you're no longer listening to the headphones and you're just listening to the music. It starts to sound normal on that stuff. But then going to any of these higher end headphones, it's like, whoa, like,
yeah.
And in a way, that means that the best way to enjoy the good stuff is to also have the bad stuff.
Yeah. So everyone should buy those Beats on the Wall.
Beats on the Wall.
Everyone should buy the Beats on the Wall. $10,000 or no, $100,000.
$100,000. Do it.
No, it was on sale. Sorry, it was on sale.
It's like 90,000, right? 999,000. No, 99,000.
99,000. We got there.
My brain, it worked good. Sorry.
Well, here's a good one. Which open ZMF is best for gaming? That's not something I'd thought about, but it's a fair question.
Actually,
I game with these, I guess.
Yeah. The Aeolus is really good, and the Verite Opens are really good as well.
What is the best for? So my answer is weirdly going to be the Auteur, because the sound. Although, man, it's tough. I think for soundstage, like the Auteur was the most furthest away from me. But this, I think, is more like the whole thing is all around me, right? I don't know if that it tracks with your experience.
I think the Aeolus is probably the most 3D.
Single player. Yeah,
Aeolus is most 3D. Okay, I'd have to.
To me, but yeah.
Do you have? I noticed in the background there you got like this really sick like headphone setup there, headphone station. Do you have an Aeolus there as well, or?
No, I have.
Oh, okay.
I have a Denon D5200 that I just got. And then the one next to it, the shiny thing, is HarmonicDyne Zeus that just came out. That's like
this one right here.
Yeah, that thing. Yeah, Linsol's.
Actually, what's your take on this?
Well, so okay, back to your previous conversation.
Yeah.
When I listened to it, I was like, oh, it's actually not too bad. Like my first listen, I was like, oh, this is actually pretty resolving, not too bad. It's really warm. And then, it's beryllium and it's kind of woodish. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try this next to it. And this thing blows it away. Like,
the price difference is also astronomical.
When I compared the two, I was like, oh, okay, this thing is not that resolving. It's kind of grainy. Yeah. It's much more forward. The mids are pretty recessed on it. But I mean, listening to it on its own, like I've been listening to these mostly lately because I've been on telecoms all day.
Yeah.
So this to that is a big improvement, but like that to this is not even competition. Yeah.
It's kind of funny because I haven't spent much time with it only after first impressions, even though I've had it for a while. So review should be coming soon. I just don't know when. I thought it's one of the better dynamic driver headphones for detail in the price range for the Zeus. Obviously the tonal balance is not something for me because it's very like like bass bleedy. But
Yeah.
at the same time, like I was impressed for the detail. I thought, okay, it's not LX level, but under that, it competes, I think, with other stuff like Bayer Dynamic or Sennheiser. Maybe not like the 600 on a really crazy amp is still like really impressive, but yeah, I was impressed for the detail that it had, given how not challenging it is to drive.
I have no idea how much it costs. Is it like 300?
Something
I haven't
like
looked,
that.
to be honest.
I think it's let's find. I'll find out. Gonna hear some tapping.
And I did listen to, like, I was an early reviewer for the previous HarmonicDyne.
It's 350.
Okay, yeah, I listened to like the previous one, which was like $120 or whatever.
I think it was just under 200 actually. I could be wrong about that. 180, something like that.
Okay, but that one I did not like at all.
The Helios.
Yeah, the Helios. Yeah, I didn't like that one at all. So
yeah, I'm with
this
you
one
on
I felt
that,
like was much more enjoyable so far.
Definitely more competitive. Also, though, with both of them, they have a similar kind of tonal balance, which is not for me in both cases. Like, it's this kind of warm V-shaped kind of thing, which is like, it's not that I hate that kind of sound necessarily, but it was also kind of like punctuated with the like kind of aggressive treble presentation that kind of ruined it for me. Made me think of the X2, Philips Fidelio X2 a little bit.
I haven't listened to that in years.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's been a long time.
Yeah. Doing yourself a favor on that one.
I thought those were the best headphones on the market. I mean, I remember hearing that was the thing to buy. These.
It was these. I remember Zeus had a video that was $300 or these, which was a really effective way to sell something, because you're like, that's just a bit of paper, but these. Yeah. Okay, so I want to actually get into IEMs and then get maybe back into over-ear headphones afterwards. With IEMs, mainly, I saw somebody in the chat saying you should review the SA6. He did, and we will soon. Just if you could give us your quick Cole's notes.
I think Precog just reviewed it too, didn't he? For headphones.
He's about.
Oh,
to,
he hasn't yet. Okay. Yeah. My quick take is it's one of my favorite like $500 IEMs. Easily. I think it's
like $500 ish. I don't know if exactly.
It's like, I think $550 goes on sale for $450 to $500 occasionally. I think for like Black Friday it was like at $450 or something like that.
Yeah.
First off, like if you look at it, it's beautiful. I mean, it's got stabilized wood, kind of like the new ZMF line of headphones.
But don't they have different faceplates as well? Yeah,
so you don't know what you're gonna get.
I love that. That's my favorite part.
Yeah, so when you order it, I think you just get a whatever faceplate is that's real wood.
Yours were purple, right? Or like they had like a pinkish color?
Mine were like a pinkish blue. It actually,
they're really pretty.
It's kind of like my Viento kind of in a way, but more red. It's got the red woodish color to it. But
this is an orange one here, sort of orange looking thing. Yeah. But yeah, really, really nice looking. This was the one that I get the most comments on when I, go for a walk.
Yeah. So when I first got it, I opened it up and my wife was there and she's like, "Ooh, I want those." And she took it.
Mine.
It's like this matches. I was like, okay.
That's what matters.
Yeah. It's better than having like a roommate that would just pee on everything. It was mine. No.
Yeah. she had just taken my my emo rosewood headphones. So like the Fostex of rosewood cups.
Yeah.
And they had like a reddish tone to it too. So she's like, "Oh, redwood head for IEMs. I'll take these too." But
thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I like it. It's got a nice balance. It's kind of like I think someone, Ervo mentioned on Discord this morning that it's like a poor man's QDC, because it has a very similar sound signature to the QDC flagship IEMs. So like the VX, the Gemini, etc. But you're paying, $550 for it. It's like,
rather than
you get less drivers, but and it's not as resolving, but I like it. Yeah.
Resolving.
Like how much is the QDC?
We're talking like 18 to 2400.
Yeah.
So
Flagship level.
yeah.
And the cool thing about it is that, well, yeah, I mean, it's all balanced armatures, but it doesn't, like, when I first heard it, I was shocked. I reached out to Tom and I was like, man, is this actually all balanced armatures? Because like you could think that it's got a dynamic driver in the bass, because it definitely has good bass response for a balanced armature. And I don't think it's quite as good as like a good, punchy dynamic driver in there, but it's so close. And those are using, if I remember correctly, Sonyan. I think there's Sonyan BAs in the.
Yeah, I believe the woofers are vented, so so they're not fully sealed BAs like traditional BAs are.
Right.
Which gives you, I guess, a little bit more of a resonant characteristic to it.
Right. Yeah, it simulates that dynamic driver.
That's the idea, anyway. Yeah, that's the idea.
Yeah, really cool. Yeah. Tyler's falling asleep. No, he's reading the chat.
Yeah.
You guys see him looking down.
Clackies, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the downside with mechanical keyboards, is that.
And I even have silence. Like I have the quiet linears. I have linears, not clicky clackies.
We all need to get dynamic microphones and hook them up to our Scarlett 2i2s.
Just have them like right in front of your face.
Yeah, cover everything. Do the world a favor, in my case at least. Okay, so SA6 is great. Tyler, have you heard the SA6?
I think I heard yours, right, Ant? Just real briefly.
I think I let you try it for a brief,
a song or two, and I recall remembering how pretty they were, and I remember them being like, "Oh, these are good." Like I think so. My first impression was, "Oh, these are good." Like I don't.
Oh, I like them. Okay.
Oh, I like these. These are cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, I didn't rip them out of my ears instantaneously and throw them at Ant or anything. I
put him back in the trench coat.
I didn't have the Ant headphone that shan't be named reaction.
Oh. Yeah, the Empyrean.
Oh man.
What have you done?
Spicy drama?
What have you done?
Oh, they know. There's no hiding that. Yeah, with the SA6, here's why I'm a little bit surprised, because, well, I'm surprised first because it's all balanced armatures. It's great, but I'm surprised because it is a warmer, bassier kind of sound, and I wouldn't have expected that to be, highly celebrated from Antdroid's preferences. Because, but you've told me as well that you're now enjoying some of the warmer tunings as for over your headphones as well. So. Have your preferences changed over the last little bit, or?
Maybe. Some of the people on Discord joke that I'm going through a midlife crisis, and now I only like bass. But
becoming Kryn.
Yeah, I guess. I think I don't know if I necessarily consider myself liking more bass, but I think I guess I posted a target curve like 2 years ago. A universal target curve, which is pretty much the kind of like the Edemotic curve with a slight bass shelf.
Mm-hmm.
So I think now, listening to a lot more, and probably a lot to do with the ZMF, my tolerance for I guess like upper mids and low treble, like the 1 to 6K range, I probably would drop that down maybe 3 or 4 decibels.
Right.
So it's a little bit more of a tamer, tamer treble sound signature.
Yeah.
But not necessarily change my bass, but that, because of that, it balances out the bass a little bit more.
It's interesting because the reason why I wanted to bring this up is 2 reasons why I want to bring this up. The first is so I just got the Blessing to Dusk in, and it's basically a slightly warmer and slightly bassier Blessing 2. Very similar tonal balance, but in many ways the things that kind of were like the 6K bump on the Blessing 2, or that slight treble kind of a bump there for the consonant sounds, is like a little more relaxed, and then there's a bit more bass there. Right now, if someone were to say to me, gun to my head, like which one is more neutral, I'd have a real hard time answering this, because with IEMs, people often prefer more bass like a lot more bass. And I think even in like the Harman research with IEMs, it was like a 6 dB boost, and that's why when you look at the Harman 2019 IEM target, it's basically the Monarch. It's really quite bass boosted in the sub bass. And I was having well, not exactly an argument, but a back and forth with Sean Olive on Twitter about this, where I tend to think, I think we both would agree that the reason for this, in both IEMs and in headphones, because in headphones you get the bass shelf as well. It's not to the same level, but the reason for this is people expect a certain thing from bass, and you're never going to get the same things that you're going to get out of speakers with headphones and IEMs. And so this might be why people think, or people prefer more bass or an elevated bass, because you're not getting that physical feeling of impact that you get from a speaker, like a large speaker subwoofer. Do you think that's why people, or for IEMs, that there's a preference for more bass or a stronger bass shelf? And then I know this is a long-winded question, but this is what we do. And then do you think that that's an adherence to neutral? Do you think the bass shelf is an adherence to neutral or a deviation from it?
Okay, it's a long-winded question. First, I'd like to quote South Park by saying, "I blame Canada for the bass shelf on Harman," because if you look at the 2017 study,
majority of them were all.
The Canadian, they did a population.
They're so cold up there. They need that warmth to.
I remember the Canadian preference was much more bass than America.
It was all Canadians
Asia,
that were But also, I mean, their sample size wasn't that large, and
blame that.
There's the sample size, but then also
a younger audience.
Yes,
it's just an asterisk.
And then in that research that we went over like a while ago on a live stream, where it was like the regional differences, where they found that there wasn't supposed to be a difference. I feel like that directly contradicts the assumption that it's Canadians who want more bass. But regardless, I'll let you.
Yes. So I guess your question. So more bass. I think. Yeah. I mean, when I listen to speakers at home, and I look at like the original like DF curve that was created by Automatic along many years ago, that's supposed to be neutral.
Yeah,
it's totally missing the amount of bass that you'd hear like listening to a proper speaker setup. And I'm not even talking about adding subwoofer. I'm talking about like 2 full range towers.
Sure.
That maybe go down to like 60 or 40 hertz or something. It's totally missing that. And to like, for me to compensate for that, I would have to increase the bass shelf to, on like a headphone, maybe a flat line, but for an IEM, it'd be maybe plus 2 or 3 dB above 0, I guess, to like compensate for that lack of bass.
So is this to get it so that the tone itself is like of the same loudness?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, at least that's what I would consider neutral.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about just preference. I'm just talking about what I would consider neutral.
Right.
It's maybe flat to maybe plus 2, up to 3 dB.
Right. Maybe not the plus 6 or whatever it is.
No. Yeah.
But
I'm not critical.
Well,
it's plus 8.
Is it? No, not the Dusk. That was so.
The Dusk is, I think, it's plus 8, isn't it?
No, or I don't know, maybe, but it's definitely elevated. I have the graph somewhere, but
and I also like, for me, for going back to that topic, for IEMs, if I was listening to a BA versus dynamic, then a BA would add an extra couple dB on top of it. It's
so interesting because if you think about for overall volume, sound pressure level, them being equal, perceptively, the dynamic driver feels more, there's more.
It feels more.
Yeah. Yep. And this to me is like this explains it. This is like the reason why we have a preference for more bass in some situations and not as much in others, even though the bass level might be, we can see like BA versus dynamic driver, bass level all being equal, they don't sound the same.
Yeah, not to me anyway.
Yeah, I'm with you. But no, actually, just getting to the Dusk. Have you heard it yet?
No.
Okay.
I've taken the Blessing 2 and tried to EQ it.
I saw that.
Dusk, and listened to it, and I like it. But yeah, I don't plan on getting the Dusk unless they send me a unit. But mostly because the Blessing 2 didn't fit, and they haven't changed the shell design. So
Yeah, actually, I was surprised that because I remember that noticing that the nozzle was huge and that the shell, it was a large IEM. But when I was just doing sort of first impressions yesterday with the Dusk, I was kind of like, oh wow, actually I'd forgotten that I don't mind how large these are, because I was worried about that. But for me, they end up being just fine.
Yeah, I also only buy customs now. So.
Oh really? Okay, yeah.
Feel like it anyway.
Actually, that was another really nice thing about the SA6 is that it's not that large.
Yeah, SA6 is like one of the most comfortable
IEMs. It's got the acrylic kind of shell design, and it almost looks like half of them with the Audio Monarch. Like they just lopped the end off. But yeah, with the Dusk, when I first heard it, it was off of a phone dongle, which did something really weird to the bass. And then I got it home and I was like, oh, okay, no, it's fine actually. So because at first I was it was so much I was worried. I was like, this can't be right. This is like more than the Neo.
Did you put an EQ on your phone or anything?
No. Like it's there's something weird with it's this dongle right here, which I bought at a convenience store. So it's not a good dongle.
That is not Apple. That's not allowed.
No, I don't know. It's not. No, it's actually the dongle that I use in my car for my. I have like an auxiliary cord to be able to plug stuff in from my phone and just run it off of my phone. It's an old car.
Yeah, the Pink Panther's not going to approve that.
What's that?
The Pink Panther's not going to approve of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I need to update my car audio in general, but yeah. It was just like I was at the post office and I was like, oh, I just want to try them right now. I was so excited. I heard I was like, what did Crin do? And then I got home. I was like, oh no, it's actually totally fine. So, yeah, okay. The other questions I want to ask are, so I have now the Clairvoyance in and the Monarch. I've been doing side-by-side comparisons between the two. And I forgot where you stood on those and which one was your preference.
That's a good question. I think I like, personal taste, I think I like the Monarch more. But I would probably recommend most people buy the Clair.
Yeah. And like this kind of, it's related to that earlier question about bass level and stuff like that, and where the bass shelf should be, and the relationship between upper bass and lower mids, and whether or not that should be withdrawn a little bit, or does that make it a little bit sterile and whatnot. I don't know where I stand right now. I definitely do hear the same sort of slight step down on the Clairvoyance as far as image clarity and technical performance is concerned, but part of me feels like that's just because of the extra lower mid-range presence that it has.
I think so too.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like if I listen to like the treble on the Clairvoyance is definitely better than on the Monarch, like that whole balance there. To me it sounds smoother, but yeah, I'm inclined to agree that right now it's a tough choice, and I lean slightly towards the Monarch as well.
Ideally for me, I would take the Monarch low end and the Clairvoyance upper end.
Yes.
But that's not an option.
Yeah. Well, I did find with the Monarch, tip rolling did help smooth out some of the treble. It did with the constant sound.
For me, it was mostly I think the 1K, 1 to 2K.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah, definitely. There's a slight change there as well. Yeah. I was actually really surprised at how close the Monarch gets to the, at least this one I have here, gets to the 2019 Harman IEM target. It's like almost identical, which I know, like, I've been toying around with, representing the targets for IEMs, because like, if I just show like an IEM frequency response, people are like, well, I don't know what that means. Like, it's sort of meaningless unless have the context of like how IEMs are supposed to measure. Yeah. But targets haven't really been figured out as well for IEMs. So, yeah. Someone's asking, are your VCs jealous, Tyler?
No, they're with me always.
He just put on the open for this stream because Anthony and I both had the open on. So.
Yeah, I literally did and I just got these back from Marcello, so he had them for a little bit. Sorry, I was laughing at the live chat. I was joking about if you say Rush 3 times in the live chat, you have to
spin around and then he shows up. Yeah. Is he in the chat?
No, not yet. I'm sure he will pop in though. they've summoned him, so he has to.
Right.
Now.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I see. The last Rhino asks, "Do people still drive cars?" Yeah, it's been really nice having the freedom to now that I have one, because for the longest time living in the city I did not.
I had to update my insurance this past week. This is
I still
completely off topic. But I had to update my insurance carrier was like, "Oh, we want to update your discounts. How many miles do you drive per week?" I'm like,
10.
I drive like maybe 15 miles per week now. I used to drive like 30 miles a day or something.
Is that because of COVID or?
Yeah, because of COVID.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, we'll give you a discount. I'm like, okay, sweet.
Yeah. How far do you live from your work?
About, I don't know, 17, 18 miles, which is like 2 hours in Seattle traffic.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I was going to say the Seattle traffic is a nightmare. Even just like when we were there like last year around this time. Yeah.
I don't know. Vancouver traffic's pretty bad.
It is, but we have transit as well. Like, I mean, it's not the best transit system. We don't have an east-west yet, but we have a lot of,
Wow, Rush is here.
There we go.
He's been summoned.
Yeah.
We're building a light rail system.
Are you? Okay.
My house,
I heard.
So I'm really happy.
This is like a long time ago, but I remember there was some talk about them putting in a high-speed rail between Vancouver and Seattle, which would be amazing.
That'll probably happen in like
2039 or
20, well, more like 2090 or something at the rate.
Oh no, they at least on our side they were putting together they're getting the funding together. But like the thing is that was all before the pandemic, right? So like who knows what that did to that.
I think our light rail system started 10 years ago and we've gotten maybe 5 miles.
Oh no. Yeah. I need to spend more time in Seattle though. I like it every time I go, especially like Pike Market and that whole area. It's really nice.
Yeah, we'll see you in like 3 years when we're allowed.
Yeah, exactly.
We're getting a fellow audiophile into the Seattle fold here in the next month or so. 2 months probably.
Well, maybe.
We'll
he'll probably be working remotely for a while.
Yeah, I think like a month or two. DNC.
Oh.
He's on the forum and stuff. He's on the different things.
Okay.
He goes by DNC Eclectic now on the Discord, but I don't know what he sits DNC. Now all I can think of is DNC Eclectic now. So on the forum, but he's DNC on the DNC.
You got your own clan now, Tyler.
Yeah.
All of him and I.
Cool. I want to ask Anthony about some of the other headphones there on the stand or on the in the shrine that you have there. So you said you had the Denon D5200, which actually, how is that? Because like that is like a beloved headphone of yesteryear, right? Like from a long time ago.
It came out, well, this is the updated version. This one came out, I think, 2 years ago, maybe.
So it's the D5000 that's the one from like...
D5000 is the old one.
Yeah.
It's not as good as the THX00 Purple Hearts, as I've heard.
Oh yeah, the Purple Hearts are awesome. So the 5200 I got on Black Friday for $200, which is amazing because it's like I think $700 normally. And I wasn't expecting it. Well, I guess because Denon is like a consumer brand in some ways. I was expecting more of a V-shaped sound signature, but it's actually pretty well balanced.
Wasn't the original like also the one that was slightly more balanced as well? It's been a long time.
I haven't heard the D5000, but I mean, they're all based on the Foster.
Yeah.
They're all basically iterations of the Foster.
Yeah.
With different wood cups. This one has the zebra wood cups, and yeah, I like it. It comes with better pads too. So I think the actual headphone pad is actually real leather, and then the headband pad, and then the headphone pads are I don't know if they're real or not, but they feel a lot nicer than at least the mass drop versions of the Foster ones.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that was always something I wasn't a fan of with the I had the ebony here and for review, and that the pads are weird on those because they're like really narrow in the front and then really bulbous in the back.
Yeah, these are very similar, but they're softer.
Okay.
Which helps a lot. And then if for people who have that at least ebony. I've tried, and I think the mahogany. If you get the audio, Audio House or something like that, Audio House sheepskin pads for it, it makes a big difference.
Oh, interesting.
In my opinion.
I remember people were always doing the like Lawton pad mods for that stuff as well.
I've not tried that.
I'm not sure about the 5200 specifically, but I know there was like some Lawton pad mods for that style, like the Foster driver headphones.
Yeah, I've seen people with the wood cups, but not pads. And the cups make it more Princess Leia like, so I didn't buy that.
That's important. Yeah, more cinnamon bun.
Yeah.
As for the rest of them, there's those other two there in the back. I can't quite see what those are.
One is one of the favorites on Discord, the Aria.
Of course,
yeah.
Best headphone ever.
Yeah, Tyler's favorite. And
people were mad that it didn't make it to my top headphones at the end of 2020, but it did. It was just we had to cover multiple price brackets, and it was otherwise everyone's gonna be mad that I just picked the expensive stuff, even though the LCD2 is also expensive. Sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
That's fine. Yeah, and then the other one on the far side, I guess, is the Audeze Sine.
Right. Okay. Tell me about the Sine, and then you put some Sculpt candy pads on. Is that right?
Pilot.
Yeah. Yeah. Here, let me go grab it really quick.
Yeah, those are fantastic, by the way. They're super comfy and they sound really good.
I
love to measure that because I'll wait till he's.
Okay, I think I might just dented it, but okay. So these are the Sines. They don't. Yeah. It's hard to find these now because they've kind of been discontinued, but they still show up on Ozzy's website as like
sometimes as B stock or something.
Yeah, they'll just randomly show up. I think they were on Massdrop or drop.com like a week ago. Anyway, so they come with like these super thin pads that are almost exactly the same shape as these skull candy pads.
But it's normally an on-ear, right? So
it's normally an on-ear. For me, I can make it if I stuff the inside with like toilet paper or something. I can make it, I guess, thick enough that it can be an on-ear or over-ear with like small ears.
Right.
But anyway, this skull candy is basically the same exact shape and size. That's why it fits really nicely, and you can't really see it.
Cool.
Except it makes this thing like almost 2 to 2.5 times thicker here.
Even fits my big old ears without touching.
Which actually fixes an issue with the on-ear. It makes a good seal around your ear, and that basically bumps the sub bass up to almost flat sub bass down to 20. So
it's funny because like when that I wish that that Audeze or something, not doesn't have to be Audeze, but I wish that idea was pursued more. Not the on-ear thing, but the form factor of the Sine, as well as the tuning of the Sine. You know, because I think there's so many of us who want portable yet still great sounding headphones that are, you know, fit into a kind of smaller form factor, and everybody wanted that, you know, the LCD one closed to be that kind of thing, and then you know that hasn't really happened, but especially because, you know, these days everybody's all, you know, wireless and noise canceling and everything else, but like for us, what you have there with the Sine is really appealing.
Yeah, I bought these when they first came out, and then I eventually sold them, and I totally regretted it. And then by chance I had looked at Definitive Audio's website, or a local store here.
Okay. Wait, is that the place that has the the Sennheiser? Yeah. What's it called? HE1 or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
that's supposed to be our next date.
Josh did a review there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to go there. Anyway, yeah, they had like a few of these left in stock, and they discounted them down to like 190 or something like that. So I went and bought it.
Crazy.
Yeah, these are great for like portable and using at work and stuff.
I need to keep an eye out for that here then. I don't know where to find that kind of thing, you know, used markets and stuff like that. Craigslist.
Yeah, like I said, Drop is selling it, but I think they're charging like $500 for it.
No, I wouldn't buy it at a, you know, full price, because it's like, again, it's not exactly something that I'd use like on a regular basis, but like the idea behind it is really cool.
Yeah, and these are designed by BMW, so it's got that really nice industrial look to it.
They're very pretty too. I really like the look of them.
Yeah, me too. That's exactly the kind of look that I like in headphones.
I think they're sleek, they're small. They you know.
As my brother says, extra regular. I want it to look extra regular. That's speaking of extra regular. Okay, so we got to talk about the Apple headphone, and what okay, like we're just talking about aesthetics, right? Headphone, the way it looks, but like, what's your take on how that looks, disregarding all the rest of it?
I don't know. The headband looks weird to me, and I haven't really looked at a whole lot of pictures of it, but the headband obviously stood out as something that's really weird looking.
Yeah.
And then they kind of remind me of a different headphone. I can't remember what it is. Like PSB's headphone.
Oh yeah. The
NVIDIA, or not NVIDIA, the Razer gaming headphones. Opus, thank you. That's what it reminds me of.
Really? Oh, I didn't get that. You mean from the cups?
The cups. The headband, I think, for the Apple Pro Max looks... I agree with that. I think that's the... If it was a different headband, I think it would look a little better, in my opinion.
Right.
Overall.
Immediately, the dumbest thing about it to me is the carry case.
Yeah.
Like, I actually don't mind the way that the headphone looks. We live in a world where, this is normal, right? Like, just any high-end audiophile headphone looks generally somewhat odd when you compare it to, Bose and other.
Not the Opus.
You're not thinking of the Opus, okay?
Not thinking of the Opus. There's a gaming one specifically. Yeah. Let me.
Black Shark or whatever.
Yeah.
That's the new one that they're all about. But in general, like, audiophile headphones look quite silly. I think there's a trend.
This is the Black Shark.
So when you look at the AirPod Max, not all audiophile headphones, I'm just saying many of them do look quite silly. And when you look at the AirPods Max, it's not that different from, what we're used to. But I look at the case and I think, why would you design it like that?
Actually, and even the case, like I'm like whatever. The part that really bothers me about the case is that you need it to turn off the headphones. That's the part where I'm like, why? Like,
really?
Why? Yeah. You
think about the AirPods Pro and the way that works kind of with the case, and it's like
close the case and it shuts it. Yeah.
So
it's a similar thing, but it's
those are like this big.
Yeah, I haven't looked enough into that. I don't know how that's going to function, but we'll get one in soon, so we'll find out. But here's what I wonder though, like the way that the case looks, and it looks like it's got a hand, like the headband ends up being like a handle, right?
Yeah.
Are we going to see people walking around with like brassiere and headphones?
Yeah.
Like, is that going to be the norm now?
Yes.
Rather than having them around their necks, just to be like, all right, here we go.
And it's so bad. Like, they're not even like a protective case because there's holes in the bottom. There's freaking. I don't know.
Especially at where we are.
I'm sure they'll probably make aftermarket cases for it.
A rain cover.
Better.
Yeah, something.
The push-up case.
It's a little weird.
Okay, but so apart from the aesthetic, what's your guys' take on what it's going to be? What do you think for sound quality and like all the rest?
Without listening to it ever?
Well, just a prediction, right? Because nobody's really heard it yet. So,
well, I don't know. I mean, Apple's hired a lot of people from the industry to kind of do their music division or audio division, I guess. So
yeah,
there's potential there. I mean, I don't think they're using the Beats crew to make it, but and the AirPod Pros are pretty decent for what they are. Yeah. I think I would guess that they're gonna probably compete really well with Sony and the Bose.
And then you just pay a little bit more because it's Apple.
Yeah. And you get a cool little carrying case.
Carrying case. I mean, it's not even really a carrying case, right? It's really just a cover for the head things, and then the like Resolve just said, like and then you're using the headband as a carry thing. But anyways, I think for audio quality, I would say it'll probably be similar to what the Pros are, which I think are pretty good for what they are, right? You're still paying Apple tax. In-ears, the Apple AirPod Pros.
Like the tuning would be similar. Yeah, I would expect at least to be similar.
Which those are pretty good for what they are.
Yeah.
But I would say probably like a bigger. I'm going to say it's going to be a bassy headphone. It's probably be warmer. It's going to be a warmer headphone with probably decent sound signature. I think it'll probably, for it to be, well, no, it's going to be successful no matter what because it's Apple, but for it to be successful in an audiophile world, or like in that sense, to me, it has to at least perform better than the Sony or the Momentum or the.
Oh yeah.
It needs to perform better than those because obviously costs more. So to me, that's where it needs to be.
What I'm most interested in from this, sorry, I see in the chat someone says Audio Discourse is a cult of gentlemen.
Well, yeah, Last Rhino was asking Ant to do a breakdown of what his website is, but
yeah. But just want to finish on the thread of the Apple thing. It's no secret I'm not an Apple fan, and I don't have high expectations for this. But what I think is going to be really interesting from this is we have right now target curves that are developed from market research companies like Harman. They're doing market research essentially for how to tune headphones, like AKG, Samsung, whatever else, right? There's yes, it's academic, but there's also there's a product element to it as well. And now we have Apple, who is Apple's a massive company with a ton of resources. They're putting a lot of effort, I imagine, into this as well now. Now we don't see the research part of it like we do with Harman, but that's going to be borne out in the headphone itself. So when we get that headphone, we measure it and we see what the tuning is. That's going to be really interesting to me, and see, okay, how does it differ from Harman, or in what ways does it differ? And then I'd be curious to see where did they how did they come up with this, right? Where did this idea come from? Because it'll be interesting if it matches Harman. That'll be really, really interesting. But if it doesn't match Harman, then we have something else to potentially lean on and say, okay, why did you end up with what you ended up with?
It will be interesting to see if they, how much they do into. I know Facebook is now publishing papers on their audio research and stuff like that. And I wonder if Apple's going to be doing that in the future too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've sort of been fortunate.
Apple's a little bit more closed.
They are, yeah. I was going to say, And we've been lucky with the Harman research in that it is all in AES and it's all public and stuff like that. So, but yeah, with this, I mean, that to me is for the same reason that you imagine that large companies like Sony and Bose more Sony than Bose, they would have their own market research that they use to tune their headphones to as well. And obviously I think it sounds like garbage with the default tuning, but for whatever reason, they must have known that there's a certain demographic there that there is their target audience that's going to like it, that kind of tuning, right? Because that's what their market research would be pointing to. And so now I wonder what was Apple's method for this, right? That kind of thing, and how does it differ from the established targets that we have? But
I would be really interested for how Bose goes about their tuning. I mean, they are a research company.
Yeah, that's the other.
They're owned by MIT. So.
Oh, are they? Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, it'll be interesting to see how that, if they actually doing that type of research or not, or they just kind of come up with their own internal.
But wasn't the QC35 too pretty close to Harman? I thought it was pretty close.
I've never measured it, so.
Okay, I have one.
You measured it, didn't you?
No, I have one here. I haven't measured it yet, though.
Okay.
I just got it in last week, so I have to put it through the paces.
I think I seen maybe the original 35, or maybe it was the 7 on ratings.com, and I think it was. It still had I think it still had a bass shelf to it that was bigger, but.
Well, the Bose 700 definitely has a bit of a bass shelf there, but it's the Bose 700 to me just sounds flat out better than the QC35 too. I just did a quick comparison. I was like, now, it sounded good. They both sounded good for their tonal balance, but then going one to the other, the Bose 700 just sounded better. But
you're a bass head.
Yeah. See,
Taryn's been in his ear.
Take that, Taryn and Andrew. Anthony just called me a bass head. Yeah, no, it's too much bass, of course, but for the rest of the balance, I mean, just sound, and it also sounded like it had better technical performance, but. That will be a review soon. Sorry, you were talking about, you brought up something and I wanted to go there and I've now forgotten what it was. We'll get back to it. We should probably dive into the chat a little bit here. I see Pelpan says, did you guys receive your Dusk review samples yet? Asking Android. We did go over that. I
actually agree with what Rush is asking. I think you should do a review on female Crin.
Female Crin, yeah.
What's female Crin?
Look at your box.
I know what female Crin is.
Female Crin, wow.
So I wanted, yeah, I was a little disappointed with the Dusk because I wanted the faceplate to have Crin's face on it.
Oh, they didn't send you the engraved version?
No, this is just the standard. But it does say Dusk underneath, so that's how you can tell it apart from the non. Yeah,
you should have asked for the one with Crin's face on it.
Yeah, that's what
female
I wanted.
Crin, sorry, female Crin.
Female Crin. You need female Crin.
Yeah. Well, he's in the chat, I'm sure. Yeah, so I don't think the other guys have received their review samples of the Dusk yet. But yeah,
when are we gonna get an Andrew by, I don't know, collaboration, Resolve collaboration headphone
with a manufacturer?
Yeah,
I don't know. One day. It's yeah, I don't know. It's funny though, because I don't think the tuning, at least for IEMs, the tuning wouldn't be all that different to the Dusk. I mean, there's also like the question of like, if you could have your ideal tuning, that's one thing, but implementing it with the technology is another thing entirely, right? So like there is a limitation on what's possible. Like if I had my way, I would have, you know, the Dusk with a little more treble air up top, right? But there's only so much you can do. I think
you can add an extra driver.
Yeah, make it even larger. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
It's just these two, it's just like cylinders that come out of your ears.
Yeah,
maybe that's the new thing. Yeah. Maybe Apple probably will do it, and then it'll be like the popular thing to do.
Yeah, no, I've got some ideas for like, you know, I think to myself, this, you know, this would be like a good you know, market segment to enter into, or like a price bracket where there's opportunity for something cool there, both for dynamic driver and planar. But then, you know, I like, if I had my way, it'd be like, okay, I'd make a planar at like $1,000, and then it would just be like an LCD2 with my EQ preset. Right, which is like, okay, well, that already exists kind of in the LCD2 with my EQ preset.
That'd be interesting. Like I have a quick one. I want to do a quick thing real quick. If someone mentioned it, and it'd be kind of fun to do this real quick, is if you could work with any manufacturer, which manufacturer would you work with to make a headphone based on your preference or your name, kind of thing, right? Like you're kind
like
of
the way Crin did.
Yeah. But it could be IEMs or headphones. So we'll start with Antdroid.
That's a tough one. Outside of maybe ZMF, I probably would.
I'm gonna go a little spicy.
Yeah. I might get a little spicy here, but I might go with Meze because they make. They make really nice looking products, but I don't like
and comfortable.
So you basically come in and fix it. That would be pretty. Actually, I'd buy a Meze Mezdroid. I'd buy a Mezdroid.
Yeah,
Mezdroid. Yeah,
let's make it happen. I'm into that.
Yeah,
make it so that they put like stronger magnets in their drivers.
Keeps the seal.
They can be a little heavier because like they're so comfy that, you know, they could get away with it being slightly heavier.
Yeah, everyone should know mine. Is it would be obvious, but Resolve. What would be the manufacturer that you would, if you could choose, would you choose?
Cascadia Audio.
That was an easy out.
Matt Economist. I would just work with him.
I think Ant, you're on the list, right?
What for? What list?
For the Mad Phone?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I ordered it. I'm excited.
But realistically, Resolve. Which one?
What do you mean realistically? That's my. No, I'm just kidding. He doesn't need me. That's flat out. He does not need me.
KZ.
KZ.
If I wanted to make money, probably KZ.
So my answer is yeah, right. Drive around in some Ferraris. That's how you. Yeah. No, I don't know the full story there, so I'm talking out of my backside on that one.
Oh yeah, Philphone.
Philphone. There you go.
Yeah.
I would choose for IEMs. I would choose Empire Ears. Because I love the technical performance, and I think if they can improve the tuning, they get some real winners. Obviously, the prices are kind of nuts in some of them, but like the Odin is really expensive. But the technical performance of that stuff, I think, is like if I could take like the what is it, the Valkyrie, right, or the Hero, that kind of technical performance, but then have the tonal balance be like the Dusk, that's what I would do. And then for over ears, man, probably Audeze. Probably.
I can see Audeze too.
It's Audeze.
I mean, me as a materials engineer, it would be awesome to do work with like a company that actually develops their own drivers and technology. Yeah.
Well, and also like I in many ways I base that on like the way that I kind of like see the company positioning themselves in like with the community. And Audeze is a company that's never been afraid to, have a strong relationship with the core people in the community. And so I'd feel a little bit more comfortable with that rather than something I'm totally unfamiliar with. And one of the things about me is like I really like respect and appreciate like the relationships to information. And when companies kind of like have that, they remove that by adding like a layer of marketing separation. It makes it difficult to kind of like, I guess, break through the walls on that stuff. And I feel like with Audeze, that's not something that I would have to worry about too much because they're very open and transparent about a lot, especially just if you read their blog page. But yeah,
I would pick ZMF and I'd pick Mest because it's the best. Yep.
You mean unique melody?
But I want.
But what would you change? This is the
nothing.
thing. Right?
I would just make it purple and that'd be done.
It'd be like, yeah, right. So like, you gotta if you're gonna like make it to your tuning preference, right?
It'd just
like,
be Mest purple and I'm done. I'm happy.
But see that you're basing that on like companies that you like the best, right? But you gotta base it on companies that you would like if the tuning was more to your preference.
So unique melody tuning was pretty not great typically.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Mest was kind of like a
unicorn.
I don't know. Unicorn, yeah.
Special.
But that's what I'm saying. I would just say the Mest and just do a purple shell and I'd be happy.
So they just announced a new IEM yesterday that has also stabilized wood.
Oh, that's I remember.
Yeah. The graph looks awful, but
Wait, but don't they also like just sorry, but you're talking about the stabilized wood and Tyler's talking about purple, but like. Couldn't you just ask them to make you a purple one? Because they do different colors, right?
For the Mest or unique melody,
they don't offer that.
No, they don't offer.
Oh, they
colors.
don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of their other ones.
Their other ones, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have a purple. What is it? Unique melody planar IEM.
Okay.
But
if I was to pick a headphone that I like, but I would like a different tuning of, I would probably pick. What would I pick? That's a tough one.
It doesn't have to be anything you own. Like it could be something you tried.
Yeah,
and then we're like, no, but if it were a different tuning.
Campfire audio.
That's why. Well, I was gonna say Campfire.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, I would say Campfire. If I could do like a Andromeda gold, do like a I would like an Andromeda, but gold with the purple shell. The gold little things with the purple shell.
Yeah, husky colors. I like that.
Oh no.
Go Huskies.
Good what about a like retuning the Solaris slightly?
So if I could have the new Solaris shell in a purple with gold nozzles,
I just want to know how
and then if I could have the tuning though more in line with the OG Solaris, I would.
Yeah, the OG Solaris tuning was better, I think.
Yes, if I could have the new shell with the OG Solaris as close to that as possible physically. Sorry, it's cold, so I put on some love. I don't like being cold. Where's my? There.
You look like Cyndi Lauper.
Oh, girl, boys just want to have fun. Oh, sorry.
This stream is amazing, by the way. I'm gonna do this more.
But yeah, I would say if I could have that, like that would be my. I would say I do like that. I do because I like campfire audio stuff. As much as I get flack for that, I think that they're good for. I really like the Andromeda specifically. That's like always been one of my favorites.
See, you could say Focal. If someone says Focal down there,
I was thinking
Marcello. Marcello says Utopia. So like if Focal, but the problem is like I really like the tunings they end up with anyways. So I don't.
Me too.
Maybe I would change some things on the Radiance or the Allegia, right? But like for the clear and
extra cables.
Yeah,
the cables.
Fix the cables, right? That's it.
For me, I would say same thing. I just go. I'd give me a Stellia, but purple.
different color. Yeah.
Or purple and black. There we go.
With less tryptophobia.
Tyler's easy. He likes everything. He likes the cascades. I mean,
well, I went back to the cascades recently, by the way, and yeah, I can admit that those, because I've been only listening to them off of like a Switch or an iPad, and so I was listening off of them off like the TT2 and some other stuff, and I was just like, oof. Like,
well, the thing is, the bass isn't even the biggest problem with the Cascade.
Mm-mm.
I mean, yes, it's
the W-shaped, like, just
mid.
Yeah.
Well, to me, the biggest problem is the treble. It has a massive peak at around like.
Well, that too.
It's this W shape. It's a
W thing.
But the thing is, you don't like perceptively, because the bass is so elevated, you don't notice the problems in the treble as much.
Yeah.
And it's almost like those peaks kind of need to be there to balance it out a little bit. Because if they weren't there, it would just be like there's no life, there's no spice.
I call it, it's like they're all on pedestals, right? The mids are on this pedestal and the treble's on a pedestal. It's just that the bass's pedestal is just elevated higher than the other two.
Yeah.
But
and it has a 9K peak as well. So, but it doesn't show up in graphs. The 9K, yeah. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say the word. If Chrono's watching, he knows what it is.
You know what? Actually, I was listening to these the other day, and I really was shocked at how good they were. But then, and I need to reach out to him, but like the vocal erupts. Do I even have those here? I think I might even have them right. Do I have them right here? I don't think I have them right here. Maybe they're downstairs. I was listening to
you could retune the vocal erupts.
Well, not retune them. What I would do is I'd get a better headband, because I was messing with it. And the headband, it's just because it just kind of floats on your head. And so I was taking them and I was pressing the pads or the cups without blocking the openings with my and it's like everything got better, and and they're already pretty decent for what they are, but like that was the thing. Like I was like, holy crap! I do have them here.
That just sort of changed my mind on. Well, no, I'd still want to work with Audeze. They'd be the most fun company to work with.
Yes, they would be fantastic.
But for me at least. But But the other company that I think that just kind of came to me is Final Audio.
Oh.
And you know. Final Audio is almost there with the D8000 Pro. Like it's very close. It's maybe just a bit bright, but the thing, like as far as like the technical performance and the design and everything else that they've got going on, it could be a little bit more comfy and then have the mids filled in a little bit more. That would be like my how to make that a little nicer. Maybe add the bass shelf, something like that. Tune it like that. But then also with their A8000, the technical performance in the A8000 is really quite good. And so if you don't like the technical performance of the 8000,
no, I just don't like the 8000.
No, I don't like it either. That's the thing. As I don't.
It literally like cuts into my ear when I wear it.
But that too. That this part right on the back, the sharp jagged edge.
Yeah.
But also the tuning is a little bit like the shape of the shell. It's got some jaggies, which. I mean, I spoke to the guys and they were actually pretty transparent about it as well, and they would be a really cool company to and even just with their marketing material is just like schematics of diagrams of like how they build their headphones. It's like that's brilliant.
Have you tried, someone mentioned in the chat, Metal Magic? Have you tried them before? MMR?
Like the homunculus and the no, I have not. The Thummin or whatever it is.
They also kill your ear, but but they're really cool designs. And they cost a lot. I think tune pretty terribly.
Yeah, I think Precog
with good technical performance.
Yeah.
I think
but see, that's what it is. That's why I like your what's that?
Precog gave them the best review, as I recall.
I don't fully know the story there, but with that's why I like Anthony's pick about Meze, where they do certain things so incredibly well that if they could be tuned a little differently, or also throw some more magnets in. But I just wanted to touch on that because what Crin's collaboration now with both the Fearless and the Bless and Moondrop, I love that that's happening. Like not just because like maybe some of the manufacturers would talk to me, but just like as somebody who loves headphones, right? All of us win when there's collaborations like that. I think because we end up with great sounding stuff. So.
I was gonna say, Ant, I'm surprised you didn't pick
Tin. So Tin does send me stuff to give opinions on prior to release. I have like 4 versions of the Tin T1 Pro or Plus or whatever that just came out. But they don't always listen to what I say.
Didn't you also help with the Galaxy, the Samsung?
No, not really. I provide some input to the guy that tunes it, but it's still the Samsung's decision what they want to do. But
right. Well, of course.
Yeah. I did mention, I guess, to them that I guess in my review. Well, okay. So the story, I guess, was, and this is just from what I heard from the guy who works there, is they didn't like the idea of wasting time and money on making the Samsung app, that when you go in the app, you have a choice of like 5 or 6 different profiles to choose from. And they're like, why would we care about that? Just make the
make it good.
Make it good. And who cares about the tuning? And then I guess when I wrote the review of the original Galaxy Buds a couple years ago, it got, Sean Olive followed it or reposted it, and Samsung reposted it. And I guess that helped drive the case of why they need to keep adding the profiles in, because I wrote in the review, like, all these profiles give you a different tuning, and they
wow.
Yeah, so like one of the tunings basically creates an edemotic sound.
Yeah.
Another one creates your Harman target. Another one creates like the
that's brilliant.
Yeah, the blessing type sound.
Yeah.
And then then one's like a V shape. So no matter no matter what type of listener you are, there's a preference there for you.
Yeah, but see, that's what my biggest criticism of the Harman target was in general, was that we all, at least for over-ear headphones, we just use one, when in reality, you could dive into that data and segment it in so many different ways. And if you had a specific target audience of 25-year-old males, from Canada, you would have a right
Yes.
you'd have a different result from 55 plus in Germany, and right. And so you could have, just to see what the groupings were, and you could have your Canadian bass head preset, and you could have your German audiophile preset, and you can right. Yep. So I think that's more realistic, for the same reason that when you go to the grocery store, you don't just get one flavor of coffee or whatever it is.
Yeah,
definitely.
Sure. I hope, I guess, with the advent of more Bluetooth and cell phone apps controlling your devices, I hope more companies do have presets that already do that. But it seems like Samsung's the only one that I've seen that actually does it, and does it correctly.
See, what I don't understand is, so that's the big thing, right? Is because there's good and there's bad ways of doing all those different presets too, as is demonstrated by Sony. Because they have lots of presets and they're all terrible.
Yeah.
But including the default one. But what I loved about the Sony one is that it had the very simple EQ function. But what I don't understand is, why don't more companies, because all these companies who are doing, either true wireless buds or over-ear noise canceling headphones, they all have an app. Why not have custom EQ in the app? And some of them do, but not all of them do. And I just don't understand, like the Sennheiser PXE 550 Mark II doesn't, and I just don't understand why.
Sennheiser doesn't, huh?
Yeah, well, you can obviously do that yourself with a different thing, but in the default app for that headphone specifically, they have presets, but they don't have the customizability thing.
Yeah,
they do have like a thing that says custom, but you can't actually, it doesn't change the frequency response the way that it's not like sliders, right? You can it's more just like it changes like the reverb and stuff like that, so it's not or it makes it more spacious and stuff. Yeah
I have the AKG N700 noise canceling headphone, and I was actually expecting a lot more out of the app itself, because it's AKG Harman. They give you like a 5-band equalizer, and like that's really about it. And it's not really useful.
It's not in the places that it needs it.
Yeah, and then my wife has the B&O, I don't know, they're $900 B&O noise canceling headphones, and that's also Harman, I believe.
The H90i or whatever.
Yeah, the new fancy one, and that one has like a it's got like this square and I guess a plus thing you can kind of touch around to like different settings. And I tried like figuring out what each of those settings are by measuring like a whole like 20 different places, and it really just changes like 5 bands.
Right.
So it doesn't really do anything either.
So it seems like the reason for that is that one would be, is it too difficult to implement a parametric EQ? But then, which probably not. But the second, because I imagine they have to consider so many different devices as well. But then the other question is, does adding a multi-band or parametric EQ create confusion? Right.
Probably.
Because they want to make it easy to use so it's not, cumbersome, which I can understand it, but at least some customizability is better than nothing, I think.
Yeah. I mean, target audience, and then, is it worth the implementation and upkeep?
Exactly.
So
when you can achieve, all of the desired sales from marketing instead, right? Yep. Why would you bother putting that money into something that would actually be useful for people? Yeah, I don't know.
There was the one you lent me, your Plenu DAP.
Oh yeah, the Cayenne.
Plenum. That's a great name.
Plenu. That one's awesome.
Cayenne, isn't it?
Cayenne.
Yeah, Cayenne. Yep.
It's the EQ presets in that are fantastic. And then you said that there's like you can get a desktop that can desktop.
Yeah. So Cayenne, they partnered with what's it? BBE.
Yeah.
So BBE makes a bunch of like sound processor things for recorder,
so cool.
Musicians and engineers, and you can buy they make a desktop version of it for like I think $100 or less. It has RCA or XLR input, and it basically what it does is it does some magic, like a lot of snake oil magic, but I think what it does is it looks at the phase of the music and then tries to realign it in a certain way.
Wow.
But it does some magic thing, and everything sounds, I don't know, better after it. Like it's more clarity. The soundstage opens up a bit. I don't know. It does magic. Tyler can probably talk about it too. But
it's like computational audio, like what Apple's claiming to do. Or
yeah, a little bit.
And
of that.
I think Phil or Zero Sin and and in the chat also have those players too, so they can talk about it.
Yeah,
cool.
It does magic.
It is. Yeah, like no joke. I was listening. I was like, whoa. And you hit and it's so quick. And it's usually with presets, I'm like, I'm not really big on. You guys know, like I'm not a big EQ guy. But like with that one, it was fun. Like it was really fun to like go through the different ones and find the one I liked. And it had like this. It reminded me of adding an M scaler to something.
Okay.
Level. Right, like it just boosts it, and it's just So,
I love
like
that.
Ant said, it's like a magic. It's like it's all digital EQ stuff. It's really good.
I love that kind of stuff. That's what I hope this Apple thing does. I don't think it's going to, but I hope I know they're doing computational audio, but like I hope that because if you think about like all the music that you're listening to, apart from whatever limitations there are in the headphones and the player and whatever else, the other limitations are of course in the recordings themselves and the files that you're using. So if you can optimize that in some way that you wouldn't be able to otherwise, then that puts whatever device it is already above the competition. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, what's the name? And it does. Like, let's see here if I can find.
It's the Sonic Maximizer.
Maximizer.
If you want to buy like the hardware.
Yeah, what's the highest end version of this? Sonic Maximizer?
Yeah, I put a link in the YouTube chat.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Perfect. Yeah, I need to buy this. $120. It's super awesome.
You can buy it on Amazon
right now. So I'm on Amazon.
It's just in the cart. Off we go.
Yeah, I need this in my life.
Cool.
Only 16 left in stock. Oh crap!
All right, you can get it. I'll wait.
There's an XLR version too.
I should make sure I get the right version. Damn it! One sec.
Aren't you?
Everybody in the chat's just gonna go there and buy it, so we won't get a chance.
Aren't you getting M scaler, Tyler?
Eventually, I'm gonna try and get one on loan from a friend. But obviously,
you're gonna ruin your marbles with a cheapo $100 box.
Wait, what?
But, I'm gonna get an M scaler eventually as on loan. But then I kind of don't want to, because then that means I'm gonna want it, and it's like one of those things where I did that with the TT2, right? Like, where I was
Didn't
like,
that happen with the? With
yeah, that's
the,
what I'm saying. Like, I did not want the
Yeah.
TT2. Like, I did it, and then I was just like, damn it, and it just.
I feel like that's gonna happen when I get the Kenzie in, because I love those, like with the ZMF stuff, and it's just like, well, if it's anything like the Pendant, which apparently it's not exactly like the Pendant, it's different, but yeah, tube amps, man.
The Kenzie, you're gonna be in for a because it's not the same. Like,
no, it's not, right? He was telling me that it's like
it's a whole nother beast of, like,
yeah, and it's
tubey magic. Yeah.
Well, and then the Pendant was designed to be more linear, and the Kenzie wasn't. So
I literally just refreshed. It went from 16 to 6 for this BBE thing.
Wow.
Wow, I need
what have we done?
I need some commission here.
Yeah, exactly.
right.
Come on, guys. Was this BBE sound? I'm gonna send him an email.
But I guess if you're buying it on Amazon, that's acceptable.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Fair enough. Let's find something else to get people to. No, just kidding. Let's dive into the.
Yeah, buy some Beats on a Wall.
Beats on a Wall, yeah.
I heard that thing's amazing. It does also black magic.
Yeah. We should dive into the chat for a bit, because we have not had a chance to do so yet. Guys, if you guys have questions for Anthony, Tyler, or myself, do leave them in the chat and add a question mark so we know what to look for. But there's already been lots, so we can probably dive in.
There was something earlier. Go ahead.
I was just last round. I asked, did you get the HMS? I don't know what that is.
HMS.
Okay, I'm gonna skip that one because I don't know what that is. Is it a coincidence that you guys are all wearing ZMF? No, it's not a coincidence. Although, I mean, we were all wearing ZMF anyways. Tyler just switched from closed to open.
Yeah.
So I guess in a way it is kind of a coincidence, but that's the thing. Like, I don't know. Like, we all like ZMF headphones, and not just because Zach's a great guy. They sound good too.
Yeah. That's actually something to think about. Something I wanted to real quick was, we were talking about this, Andrew, the other day. It's like I think there's like not really a trend, but there's a different level of audiophile like preference. There's like the traditional, I like musical audiophile, right? And then there's this other group, not other group, but they can bleed together and merge, and you can like both. But there's also there's like the traditional audiophile, like sit back, listen to speakers, people. And then and then there's a newer trend, and it's been a newer trend for the past like decade, it seems like, or probably closer to like 5-6 years now. But is that the more studio neutral trend?
Yeah.
And so I think where ZMF I find to be more in line with like that traditional audiophile, I want to listen and enjoy music. Not that you're not enjoying it with the studio neutral, but that it's a different style of enjoyment.
Yeah, adding a bit of flavor. But although they do have some neutral stuff too, like the Icon and the Otur are both fairly, they'd fit into that, other category.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So I mean, that's one of the nice things about his lineup is that he's got. I just wish he would, now he's got the crazy beryllium drivers. I wanted to make like an Otur and an Icon, with these drivers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it kind of goes into the conversation that I had with Fang Bian. Again, I keep going back to that interview because I learned so much about the industry and about just everything in general with headphones. But he told me, I'm not sure if this was actually in the interview, but he told me that when people are looking to buy a headphone at a certain price bracket, they're not after linear sound. They think linear sound is boring and they want something with a certain flavor to it. And he was saying this is at a lower price bracket. More, I think he was referencing more like consumer stuff, right? And this is why if you walk into a big box store, you go to the headphone section, everything is marketed with extra bass or something like that. And the reason is because people think that linear sound is boring, but when you have something that has really good detail and technical performance, suddenly linear sound is no longer boring. Linear sound is actually preferable, and that fits into this studio reference kind of category a little bit more. So at first I thought to myself, okay, like that other category there who just wants to flavor it up, they just don't know that they actually would prefer linear sound with good detail and good technical performance. Because like you can even see that with like the AKG K371, that's pretty close to like quote unquote linear sound with as long as Harman's your reference. But the technical performance is not particularly good on it whatsoever, and I can absolutely see why someone would say that sounds boring. But you take a Focal Utopia, right? That is okay. You think it's boring, but people who actually like good sound, no. Okay, pick another example, right? You like the HD800S, right, or something like that. Right? So you take a high-end headphone that's got good detail, and suddenly it's not boring, and the linear sound aspect of it just means that the tuning doesn't get in the way.
Yeah,
and you're able to enjoy the details and all the rest of the stuff more and more. And then, but the interesting thing that I think you were pointing to in general was that even people who do that often then will gravitate towards tubes and stuff like that as well. They have these linear headphones, the HD800S, Aria, whatever else. Then they're like, oh, I want to flavor it up. Let's also add a tube amp, and then you can have some fun with that as well. So I don't think the people there are probably some people who are just interested in studio reference in the like lower price, like the price to performance segment, and they're after the HD600s and stuff like that. But at the like, let's say within the audio like larger audiophile category, I think the people who do prefer neutral also enjoy the flavored stuff. It's just they got to do it in a certain way.
Yes, and that's I wanted to kind of clarify that too to some level. Like I joke and call the Utopia boring. It is far and above one of the best headphones you can get, and it's very enjoyable, and I really like it a lot. For me personally, I personally prefer the Stellia over the Utopia.
See, I listen to a lot of like garbage heavy metal music, and the Utopia was not so good for that.
Yeah, that would be bad. That'd be bad for that. And I do think the Utopia is fantastic. Like it is definitely, it's like one of those premier. It is what it is. It's a stellar performer. But I like to say boring, but it's not.
But actually, it's an interesting question because even this, we were talking about the Empyrean earlier, and I saw this come up in all of that drama, where people were saying. Some of the more like reasoned comments were like, they were like, yeah, okay, maybe it doesn't have the same kind of technical performance as a competing price headphone, but that's not necessarily what we want. And I thought to myself, yeah, that's actually a really good point. If you really dig the tuning and you don't want all the details, or you don't want, like, you want, a good presentation and you want it to be fun and engaging, whatever, all that stuff. But you don't want necessarily like HE1000 SE level detail, right? I can see that. I can get on board with that. And like, I mean, this is my bias, but I don't think dynamic driver headphones at that level can compete. I just don't think for detail, they're like, I mean, the Utopia is the most detailed dynamic driver headphone. I don't think it's as detailed as the Susvara or the LCD4 or some of these crazy planar headphones that are up there. It just wins because it's got a much better tonal balance than all of them. So,
and I would say like that's also one of the other things, right? And I think there's also that, right? There's that some people gravitate more to a dynamics sound signature versus a planar sound signature.
Yeah, and Chrono is a good example of that, because he was originally more into planars,
and now he's
kind of gone the other way into dynamics,
because it's more musical and musicians
punchy,
prefer...
the physical punch that you get from.
So
I don't know if it's more musical though. It doesn't have to be.
I'm just being a jerk.
Maybe it's more natural, the natural
temp. But I think at the end of the day, it's all about what you like, what your preference is. And speaking on the Empyrean piece of it, I think that the part that the Empyrean issue, I think that a lot of people have, it really just comes down to, I think a lot, and this is going to be spicy, I guess, but it's the price to performance. It's like that's the problem, really, at the end of the day, right? Like I think people get all upset about it, but it's a fantastic headphone. Like at the end of the day, it's a beautifully built. It's one of the most, if not the most comfortable headphone you can get. It looks fantastic.
It's great until you start listening to it. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. No, actually, but you're right. And actually, the tonal balance, apart from a few little issues, is really good. Like the shape of the ear gain is really nice. It's a little relaxed, but it's still elevated the way that it should be. The bass is a bit.
Yeah, bass is where it kind of starts getting wonky, and then
and the treble. This is what people also didn't quite get. I know you're going to say beamy,
it beams, man.
What people
Beam
don't
up,
quite
Scotty.
get is that. So if you look at the measurement of the Empyrean, right, and people would say like, well, it doesn't look like the treble is all that spicy, right? It doesn't look like the upper treble is that peaky. But the reason why is because those measurements are normalized at 1K. If you normalize those measurements at 3K, it would definitely look a lot more intense and a lot more peaky in the upper treble, because the target curve is here, the actual frequency response is a little lower, so it doesn't look like the treble is over the target. But as soon as you normalize it at a higher spot, the treble's way over the target. So that's really all that counts. Anthony's camera.
I was gonna say we're about to lose.
I'm gonna change my battery real quick. I'll be back.
Sure. Okay.
And I wanted to speak on that spicy take of like the beamy part of the Empyrean a little bit. Is for me, it's because the way, if you look at the way that the traces are in the driver of the Empyrean, the bass part of it is up high, and then it has these little circles.
Oh, different. I know what you're talking about.
And the traces actually have, for the treble and the mids, are actually focused on where your ear hole,
now,
your ear balls
I wonder
are.
if that's psychoacoustic though, because
And
we know that's how it's designed.
Yeah, and that could be psychoacoustic, and but it does feel that way, man. Like, I don't like once you look at, like, pull, if you have an Empyrean at home, pull the pad off. They're magnetic, they're fantastic design, and you look at the traces and the bass and the
you
lower
can see
registers.
it. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And then the has the design kind of it does this cool like traces, and then it does this spiral circular thing and then if you look at where those place at, the bass is up here where my fingers are, and then the treble and mids are down here where my palm of my hand is. And so,
but in theory, I mean, if you're listening, like, whatever shows up in the frequency response should be what you end up with. So that's probably why it shows up like that in the frequency response.
Yeah. And another thing,
it's got a more direct path and stuff. But yeah.
And I had the weird, and this is just me. Like, this once again, this is just my personal thing. I don't like for me, I didn't like that the bass. I really picked up on the bass being higher, and it just threw me off because you
hear it coming from different spot. Maybe.
Different spot than what I was expecting. Like, to me, bass needs to come up like as bad as that is from lower down. That's where the subs are. Yeah,
it's called sub for a reason. No.
That was just tweaked me out a little bit. And so it's really a preference thing, man. And so at the end of the day, if you like the Empyrean, dude, right on. Who cares what anybody else thinks? That is what it is. You don't need to be upset about it. Somebody else doesn't like it. That's okay.
But I will continue to tell you you're wrong.
Good man. See, no, you're yeah. It's not just personal preference. It's all objective.
It's all objective.
It's an objective preference. Well, it's true that's your preference.
Yeah, that is. It's true. It is preference.
Okay, I'm diving into the chat here. He was talking about Hugo M scaler. That's what the HMS was.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, thanks. That's right.
Rocky Fox says, "When's the Cayenne boat review?" If anybody's wondering, that is the Cayenne boat there.
Yeah, I have one.
It doesn't look like a boat now, but when you turn it sideways,
it's a speedboat.
Like a boat. Yeah,
I'd pull it off, but it's heavy as hell, man. That thing
is so heavy. Oh my god,
it's shocking.
Even when I was like,
or is that?
I have mine. Mine's right here.
It's not mine. It's
Terran's. The offices.
Yeah, but even when I stole it from Terran, he was trying to bolt it to the desk. I stole it from him. I distracted him. I was like, "There's elephants over there," and he's like, "Wait, what?" And I stole it. But actually, I had a hard time stealing it.
I was gonna say,
yeah. There's not a very sneaky escape.
I'm getting the N3 Pro.
I'm excited. I want it.
Or Monday or Tuesday, I think.
What is that?
So,
that's
the tube DAP.
Mm-hmm.
Tube DAP. Okay. Oh yeah, right.
The little one.
Yeah.
I want it. Cool. Can't wait to hear your impressions.
YouTubes or whatever it is.
YouTubes. Yeah,
YouTubes, I think.
Yeah, cool.
Excited.
So sorry to answer the question. When is the Cayenne boat review? It'll get done. I don't know when exactly. I don't have a specific time frame for it, but I can give some impressions now, I guess. It's a little tubey. It's not that tubey, but the main thing that's cool about it is you get impedance selector. And you have like 4 or 5 different options for that, and this makes a big difference for especially like the way that
what's the go-to?
What's that?
What does it go to?
Oh, does it go to? It goes to 600, I think. Yeah, 600 ohm. So, oh god, he's got it. He's gonna work out with it.
Yeah, it's no joke.
You should try that on the Monarch.
Oh yeah, that's an interesting thought. Okay, but I want to say the drawbacks to this. It sounds good, and I really liked it with the Focal Alex because it on the low setting. And actually with these, you don't want to observe the rule, the 1/8 rule, or whatever that low impedance and source to high impedance for headphones. And when you use this with different impedance selectors, you can pretty dramatically change the frequency response of the headphones that you're using. But there are some downsides with it as well. And it's that if I want to, I've got the Verite on right now, and that's 300 ohm headphone. I can't use the 300 ohm output on this because the volume is, for starters, way too loud. And then the
noise floor goes.
And the noise floor is super high on it as well when you start going up into the higher impedances. So that's a bit of a drawback there. And the other thing is that it's super microphonic. So if I just like tap like this, you can hear the tubes rattling. And even just like if the cable hits, if I like move the cable like and hit like the desk with it or the thing with it, you can hear the tubes rattling in it. So that's a bit of a weird drawback. I'm not going to say this is something you could fix by putting rubber underneath it, but maybe you could. Yeah, my recommendation with it would be to put it like on a different table from where you're.
Have you either of you guys tried different tubes and see if that helps?
I haven't. I'd be very curious though.
Mine are all
very different.
And I did find that became a little. It actually made it more neutral, which is weird because the Cayenne tubes are actually kind of neutral tubes. I would say it's very. It reminded me the HA1A Mark II reminds me of a less capable pendant.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like that.
Because it doesn't have the effect. I had that Euterpe in here, the Auris audio thing, and that really changed the frequency response a lot. And that was, I think, using pentode tubes. I don't remember. Or something running as a pentode, I don't remember. But this one did not change anywhere near as much. It only changed as a result of the impedance change. So on headphones like the Focal ones that have an impedance bump at 50 hertz, when you switch the impedance on it, that's when that changes for the bass. But for high impedance headphones, that wouldn't, or like Planars, it wouldn't really change that much.
There's another interesting not secret, but like the AB inputs, outputs, headphone jack ins, inputs.
Yep. There's two of them. Yeah.
So there's an A and B. There's actually a difference. It's very mild, but there's a small difference between the A and B inputs too for sound signature. So I can't remember what
I didn't notice a difference, but I haven't actually done that much A and B testing with it, so I'd have to check. Yeah.
I mean, it might have been once again. It could have just been psychos, but I remember reading about it also. Like people were saying,
it could be
they implemented it slightly differently. So
yeah, it very well could be. Yeah, and it's almost like they took 2 amps and put it together. Yeah, it's kind of how it feels like. But okay, I get into more questions here. This is going to be for either of you guys as well. What is the best DAC for $100?
Probably a shite one.
that's how you pronounce that. Shite audio.
Shite.
Yeah.
So for me, I just a DAC or like
just a DAC. As the person's asking, just a DAC.
I don't know.
I got it.
I think at that price range, I use the Apple dongle. Yeah. That
there you go.
And then if I wanted an app-damp combo, I had been using the Zen DAC from iPhone.
Oh yeah, that's pretty inexpensive. Yeah,
it's like $129 US.
Yeah,
and it's got 4.4 and all of that.
Do I even have?
Yeah, for even though it doesn't measure well, it's very functional. It's very functional. It's got a bass boost too.
And the thing is, I use the firmware that has worse measurements too. So you get it sound better.
Going full subjectivist here. It's great. My answer would be either the Modi, whatever latest iteration of the Modi they're on right now.
They just put in unison in it.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, they just put unison in the Modi.
And so that would be my pick, or the Topping E30, but that's a little more expensive, I think. Mm-hmm. And that's using I can't remember if that's ESS or AKM.
Which in the Topping?
In any case, it's an off-the-shelf DAC. Yeah, for the E30.
I think it's an AKM. I want to say.
So rest in peace.
Hey, rest
in
peace.
I was gonna say it doesn't matter because they'll probably come up with something at around that price once
ESS
they can't get AKM stuff anymore. If it is ESS, yes, no. Actually, I have to say the ESS like analytic sound or ESS glare, that is just I don't know. This is my take on this, and maybe it's wrong, but I suspect that's just poor implementation of ESS DACs. Because if you listen to all the newer ones that are coming out these days, like the SU9 and even the Matrix X Saber Pro. Say even, that's the more expensive one. But I was gonna say even this little Sonko's balance thing that I have here, they're all using ESS based DACs, and they don't have that problem. They don't have the glare problem.
Maybe and it's just a 9018 or whatever, the older DAC versions that had. Could have
been the older DACs, but it could have also just been the implementation, because there was, on what I noticed when I was just sort of like doing comparisons on like how the data worked for all of them, because I was trying to figure out like, why is it that some ESS DACs have this problem and other ones don't? And the ones that had this problem, at least from the ones that I'd heard, they all had a pretty noticeable intermodulation distortion bump, whereas these ones don't. So I don't know, this is totally just speculation, but I think that kind of analytic glare thing that Tyler doesn't like about the ESS DACs, and I also I'm with you. I think that comes from the intermodulation distortion, and these newer ones don't have it. So I'm fine with. I mean, it sucks that AKM is RIP, but I'm fine with the ESS stuff for off the shelf DACs if they can implement it in a way that doesn't have this problem. And so far, they've been able to do really well at low prices as well.
And I have to clarify, like I think it really comes down to implementation, right? With these DACs, like these chips. And honestly, once you get away from the DAC chips themselves and you get into something like the Bifrost 2, or
because that's a custom one.
These custom ones. That's
and the chord ones now. The
chord,
whatever.
Or any of the R2R stuff.
Marble DACs.
The marble DACs, like the
ladder DACs.
That's when you start.
I'm saying things now.
Socrates, yeah. So stuff like that. Those Yggdrasil's another good one.
Non-oversampling.
Oh God. but that's when you start really getting into
Delta Sigma.
The better DACs, in my opinion, is when you get away from the DAC chips. But yeah, damn it.
Yeah. We just ran a train over your implementation comment.
It was like trying to listen to Baby Metal while trying to talk.
I apologize.
No, you're good. And then,
but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, like I think once you get into the custom DACs, that's when you're really starting to get into the better implementation of things. But that being said, cost definitely goes up with that. But the ESS DACs, a really good one, is implemented wise is fantastic. They sound great. It's just finding that really good implementation.
Yeah, and I just think those are becoming more common these days.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. It's a win for everybody. Corinne says someone needs to fix Verite tuning, Verity tuning, and then he dabs. So you can. He's trolling.
I told him those are fighting words. So, and I know he believes it. That's fine. It is what it is.
I just EQ, so it doesn't.
You know, I've been turning EQ on and off, back and forth all the time with my Verite.
Yeah,
I like it both ways.
Yeah, I can. So, that's the thing. It's like
I can
ways? As much. Well, it's a progressive show. I'm with you though on that subject, because even though it's not like linear, right? It's a bit of a flavor can. The way that the tuning is implemented kind of makes sense, right? Like, it's warm, and then there's that slight elevation of 5K, and then if you keep the existing warmth without the 5K, then it kind of it doesn't sound quite as good, right? So obviously I like what I did with my EQ better. But I can totally understand why. I totally understand, the reason why the tuning is what it is.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah, like when I listen to basically anything else I own, and then go to the Verite, I'm like, oh, this sounds weird, and then about a minute in, I'm like, oh, I like this.
Yeah,
so
you can
it's
exactly.
It just brain burn in immediately.
Yeah. I mean, I could also. I also have my. Speaking of Kryn, I do have the Kryn starter kit right here.
Is that the signature?
No, not the signature.
I think I have the signature here. Yeah, I have it in the bag. It's in the corner.
I'm actually interested.
Is that the new one?
Yes,
I have the new one here. It's
4.41.
It's out of reach. I can't get it. It's out of arm's reach. I take it out of the box.
This is why Margai's mad, because I have everything within reach.
And the Neo as well.
The Neo, yeah.
We'll do a review on that soon. Compare it to the the signature is interesting. So I'll compare it to this the original micro black label, which as much as this is a very versatile and good, it's a fantastic device, and I do recommend it for everybody. including if you're ever getting into headphone measurements, this is the Crin starter kit.
The Apple dongle is starting.
The Apple, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
This is the upgrade kit.
The only downside with this thing is that the build's not really that great. At least on this unit. Maybe it just means because it's seen some use, but like the switches are like they're pointing in weird directions and stuff now, and like the little knobs falling off the bottom. Like, yeah, it's just not the best built thing.
We'll have to get Monkey in here, and
it's probably just because it's so versatile, and like I have taken it everywhere. Like I took it with me to Seattle on that trip, and it's just that's probably why. So it gets that kind of use, and it's more built to be like something that sits on your desk.
This one's pretty solid, and this survived Chrono, so wow, it's even powered. Look at that.
It survived Chrono. Wow, that's
so I mean that's saying something.
Yeah. Not everything survives Chrono, man.
No,
that's how we tell if something has good build quality. Oh man, I hope he watches this stream. You have his broken HD800.
I was messing with it, dude, and I was checking it out. Like
I seem to get all these broken loaner units and demos like all the time. I just got a broken Earl Koenig, like the $6,000 Visioneers.
That sucks.
And then,
that sucks.
I think I had seems like
was it from them specifically, or was it from?
Broken. Was that?
Oh, was it from the company, or was it like directly, or like through a loaner program?
It's through a loaner program from the company. Yeah.
Okay.
But they're sending me a brand new unit.
Okay. Right.
Nice.
Yeah. That's it also sometimes feels like some of the really higher end stuff, because they don't make as many of them, there's like some more potential for like that or unit variation. I was thinking of like the LCD4s and stuff like that, because they used to be made to order. I'm not sure if they still are, but they're more rare than like, the rest of the stuff. So we should probably dig into some more of the questions here. What is your favorite ZMF headphone? I think we've answered that many times. Tyler's is the closed, and then for Anthony and myself it's the open, but that is also because I don't have the closed.
Yep, so, pretty much.
It'd probably be the closed.
And real quick, someone else asked about, actually kind of segues really well into the next question that I saw here, is differences between the opens versus the closed. And they're, to me, so close it doesn't matter. Like, pick what the use case is. But I would say, to put like a number to it, is that like the Verite closed for me is like 5% better with the 3D staging. Like, it gives a bigger and more intense bubble, I guess, of the 3D-ness. And then it's just a different, it's just ever so slightly different. And the reverb factor is what really makes it kind of a different flavor. But it's, at the end of the day, pick what, I always say this.
There's inevitably going to be somebody saying you don't want reverb in your headphones.
Yeah,
you mean like decay or
like it's but the way that it's I don't want to say it's implemented, but the way that the reverb reacts with the VC, it doesn't seem like reverb so much. I mean, it does, but it's not as bad. Like, it's almost like a good thing. It's weird. I don't know.
I'd have to hear one at home. That's the thing. Like, you can't get them as easily for review because he's always making them for people.
And then they tend to just go out. And then but I would just go with use case. Like, so if you need to close back, not that these are them, they're
actually really the opens are like semi-open. They're not as that open, right? I mean, so that actually kind of does function that way in a sense.
I think the close has slightly better, to me, tonality.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have that recessed 3K, or at least it does, but not as bad as the open.
Yeah.
Which is surprising that the tonality of a close is better than open, but
interesting. They both have the 5K emphasis, or 5 to 5.5, something around there. At least I noticed it on the open, and that's just I want to send you my EQ profile, but we have different pads, so I don't think that would quite
and
work.
Different wood
And different wood as well, so it wouldn't quite work. But I imagine it's probably similar. I don't actually tune this to Harman. I don't tune this to Harman. I tune it.
Neither I.
No, I keep the like ZMF flavor mostly, and then I just kind of change the upper mid range a little bit, and then
if you send me your EQ'd measurement, I can use that as a target curve.
Okay, weirdly, it looks pretty close to Crin's IEF target. It's pretty close to what I ended up there, but with maybe a little bit more bass shelf.
Hey, you are a
so
bass head.
It's pretty warm, but this headphone is by default pretty warm, so that's why I keep it that way, right? Yeah, but yeah, bass head life. Okay, I want to get into some more questions here. This was a question for Ant. Have you tried the Fearless Audio Y2K, which is a great name for it?
The Y2K is like the system of knobs.
Okay.
And no, I haven't.
Oh, okay.
I'm assuming that's what you're talking about, but yeah, that's like it's like this little thing that you can custom tune an IEM, a Fearless IEM with.
That's pretty cool.
If you're liking, yeah. I think that's how
I was going to ask, is that how he got the Dawn?
Yeah, that's how he got the Dawn.
Cool.
Or at least it started that way.
And any chance of reviewing the Shure Tape Pro? Maybe he's asking me this. Yeah, there we go.
I can't do a spin thing here, but
Oh man, I need to do more of those. I know Corinne was asking about that for the Dusk, which it was already too late because I opened it in the car. I was too excited.
Yeah.
So I haven't no unboxing for the Dusk.
I got this a week ago, but I haven't opened it yet.
I've done that a couple times.
Here's the measurement.
Also, my table for spinning is now being used for my girlfriend's studies, so I can't do that anymore.
Oh man, I'm gonna be the king spinner soon.
Spin, yeah. All right.
There's another one that was and actually you too, Resolve, is someone asked for the Mest. How was it in comparison to say the sounding of a proper, like a good over ear, like maybe like a Focal Clear or something like that? What's the comparison there
between the Mest and the Clear,
or just like a good, like what would be a comparable over ear to the Mest, I guess?
Well, I don't know. So if I was doing an all-inclusive headphone IEM ranking list,
that'd be an interesting comparison. Or like
an IEM would probably the highest IEM would probably rank as like a B, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
Yeah, I'm with you on it.
I think there's this is where Corinne and I disagree a bit. He thinks there's no redeemable closebacks. I'm putting words in his mouth, but I don't think he's actually said this, but I know he doesn't like closeback headphones because, the question is, well, why would you get a closeback headphone when you could just get an IEM and you can get a really good IEM, like a The Audio Monarch or a Clairvoyance or something like that. And you achieve the same thing, like as far as like the use case goes for the closeback. And with these IEMs, the tunings are often better than many closeback.
I can almost agree. I could probably agree with that.
I can in a sense, but I still think there are things as far as, the IEMs are getting better, but man, the reason why I disagree is balanced armature drivers just kind of suck. Like, okay, I should probably qualify that because the best IEMs in the world have multi-balanced armatures in them, right? That's totally, that's how you get, the Odin and the U12T and all this kind of stuff.
Viento.
But, yeah, like they're all, and I would probably buy a multi-balanced armature IEM over any of the dynamic driver IEMs at the moment, right? Not necessarily in the future, but at the moment I would definitely buy one of those multi-balanced or hybrid or tribrid IEM, over those. But the thing is, like, if you look at like the actual performance characteristics of individual balanced armature drivers, they're not that great. Or at least there's a limitation to it, and they all have this weird third harmonic distortion characteristic that's going on that in some cases leads to again, this is just speculation, but I feel like this is correlated with third harmonic distortion, or sorry, with balanced armature timbre. I think those two are somewhat correlated. It's my suspicion. I can't prove it, but anytime that I've seen an IEM that has noticeably bad balanced armature timbre, it also has elevated third harmonic distortion. It's like more third than second, right? So it's this weird behavior there for the drivers themselves. And then even if you just look at the way that balanced armature drivers work, obviously the TIA drivers, the tubeless designs, that's better, but I just looking at that, like with the like flat, it's basically like I can't really represent it just with my fingers, but basically if you imagine that rather than the pistonic motion being from like a dynamic driver is like a moving coil with a diaphragm kind of going like that, right, from the magnetic field, or in a planar has the trace on the diaphragm and then it's immersed within the magnetic field. With the balanced armature, it's kind of like you have, I'll see if I can do it like this. You kind of have like on one side there's a pin and then it kind of goes like that. right? And that's how you create the pistonic motion. And to me, it doesn't feel as, I don't know, it feels like there's a limit to that kind of way of creating sound that there isn't with dynamic drivers and with planars. And so I feel like the future, and again, this is totally just my hunch, my suspicion, speculation, but I imagine this is one of the reasons why we see companies moving in the direction of both dynamic drivers and dynamic drivers and also planars now in some cases, but then also why we stopped using just balanced armature drivers and IEMs. And we've now gone with hybrids and tribrids and stuff like that because of these limitations, right? Especially for bass frequencies, right? Dynamic drivers are just better at doing that typically, and then of course Dunu comes out with the SA6 and completely invalidates this opinion. But you get what I mean, right? Like I think that's kind of the reason why, to me, I'd agree that IEMs right now at least they're at best a B.
Do you think, I guess related to that, do you think the SA6 bass is better than the U12T?
That is a tough question. I don't know.
Because U12T is also only
I know those. So like those are the counter examples that make this opinion that I have complete nonsense. but because both the U12T and the SA6 have fantastic bass response. The U12T, I feel, this is from memory because I don't have it here, but I feel that the U12T's bass response was tighter. Mm-hmm. Like it had better texture. But also the U12, and it was punchier than typical. Like if you listen to the Andromeda next to U12T, the Andromeda's bass sounds loose, right? Whereas the U12T sounds pretty tight, well controlled. And I feel like the SA6 is like maybe between those two, like still dynamic and impactful, maybe not quite as tight as the U12T. That's kind of how I would characterize it, but I can't. I'd have to have it side by side because I don't have that one here. What are your thoughts
on
on that question that you asked me? the bass of the SA6 versus U12T.
Well, I say that because U12T is like my baseline for multi-BA.
Yeah, what's possible
with good bass response.
Yeah, I agree.
And maybe the VX would be like the second one. But
okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, it comes down to the question of dynamics. That's a terrible word for punch and slam, and like the impactful character, which we've talked about. We just talked about this earlier, where with dynamic drivers, we don't the base level. It perceptively it's more because you have that extra sense of physicality there that you don't get with the BAs typically, apart from some of those counter examples. But that's also my benchmark there for bass response and multi-balanced armature IEM. Sorry, just getting back to the chat here. I see lots of questions actually. We'll answer a few more because we have been going for 2 hours now. Okay, what headphone would you?
In here.
I know.
What headphone would you prefer for rock under $1,000? For rock specifically.
Campfire Audio Cascades.
This is terrible.
If you can find a used Aeolus.
That's almost at $1,000, right? It's like 1,100 or something. Like that.
Well, B-Stock they drop down to like $800-900 depending, but $900.
You're an
LCD EQ'd LCD2F.
Ooh.
Rock music and metal music, anything that has like really busy passages, I find does better with planars. It allows it to keep the control and separation.
Yeah, GX is good.
GX is good. Yeah,
it's smooth and easy to go along with,
and lighter.
Yeah. Also, with rock music, I'm not sure if this is the same for like heavy metal or anything like that, but for rock music, you kind of want. It depends on what recording specifically, but oftentimes the bass doesn't fully took in the like sub bass frequencies as strongly. So if you have a really strong sub bass shelf, it doesn't really matter that much. You won't feel it as strongly on some of these recordings, especially I think classic rock is the worst for this, where the bass could, like the lowest it goes is like, I don't know, in the upper bass and mid bass at best.
100 hertz or so.
Yeah. So having so not going with a Harman tuned headphone is probably good. Like you want linear bass. You don't want the scooped out lower mids, right? Like the contoured thing there, because it's going to sound pretty lean. It's better to have the IEF target tuned headphone, just flat all the way down.
HD 600 is always a good answer, in my opinion.
Yeah, solid.
Agreed.
Okay. Resolve, did you get around to hearing the HE6, like the Hi-Fi Man HE6? Not recently. I heard it years ago, like in 2012.
Yes.
Have you guys heard the HE6?
Yeah, I have.
I
don't
have,
know.
but not.
A little bright for me.
It's a bit bright, yeah.
Supposedly you can make it magic with mods, but
doesn't surprise me. Those are
Or depending which version you get, there's like
6 screw and 4 screw.
Yeah.
SE
special edition.
Yeah.
2020 special
it's
edition.
The one
now.
with the Sundara headband and then
Yeah.
They got to make one with the Deva headband now.
No, they did.
They did. Oh,
I think.
God.
Yeah.
I know. HE6. No, they did a HE400i 2020 has the Deva.
No,
headband.
Adorama has it.
Oh, really? Wow.
You can get the 560 and the HE6.
They just have like a bunch of drivers and a bunch of parts, and they're just like Frankenstein them together. Here's another version.
Yeah, pretty much.
SEV2.
The Neve comment. I know that you've heard. Have you heard the TT? I know Ant just had the TT2. Marbles, and you've had the Neve. So the question was, how is Neve Precision DAC versus a Chord TT2?
Sorry, you're talking about the Fidelis, right?
Yeah,
RN.
I'm assuming that's what he's talking
RN
about. Oh no, this is the Precision DAC, not the
Precision is, I think.
Yeah,
Fidelis Precision.
Fidelis
RN
Precision.
DAC.
Yeah, it's the big boy.
Fidelis is like the line, right?
The line,
so,
yeah.
Or as Terrence says, the Fidelice.
Fidelice.
It's more exotic. More fun that way. I agree.
It is. It's spicy.
It sounds
excited.
better than Fidelis. I don't know what Fidelis means.
It feels
Fidelice
more.
Sounds Italian. Looks like the wood that's on.
More engaging too, right? Like it gets you kind of excited to say it.
That's a very special DAC.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to measure, but the way that headphones sound out of that thing, there's something special going on there. It's just an off-the-shelf $44.99.
Yeah.
But that I don't know what they did with that thing, but it sounds super unique.
I think that, I would say they're similar in that sense, the TT2 and the Neve, in the sense that they add like a really unique ability, I guess, to the DACs.
They're both unique, so they're similar in that they're different.
Same, different, but same.
The same, but different, but the same.
But same. But yeah, I would say I personally think I like the Chord personally better, but I do miss that Neve. Like I miss having that. Like you're saying, like there's something really magical about that Neve.
What I wonder though is if the magic is from the transformers and not the DAC, because
I think that would be...
because when you hook it up, then that's the thing is they have for the outputs on the back as well.
Mm-hmm.
I have to double check on this one, but some of the outputs they were transformer coupled and some of them weren't, and they did say that with the Rupert Neve transformers they did add some like low end boost, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, like to me it didn't sound like it was just more bassy or anything.
No,
it sounded like it was just like there was this extra textural quality to it that just came through in a way that I was not used to from any AKM DAC. So I don't know what was going on there.
Damn it, is Nirvana considered classic rock?
I know. It's grunge.
Nirvana's grunge.
It's grunge. Yeah, that's not
I'm gonna be hated for saying that. I don't know if I should say this, but I do not like Nirvana.
What?
Yeah, I know. And it's your guys' territory there. It's your hometown. Mm-hmm. Kurt Cobain.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff. No, I think Nirvana.
You guys came up with Nickelback. So.
Yeah.
No, I truly apologize for that. I mean, I know Canadians say sorry a lot. That's something we should be sorry for.
First, it was
all the Nickelback fans in the chat are like, "What are you?"
First, it was like 8 years too late to do grunge, and then it just was terrible.
That's not. No, it's genre defining because it's country grunge. It's Canadian country grunge. No, and I'm sorry, Nickelback is far worse than Nirvana. No, I just think not so much Nirvana, but what Nirvana kind of stood for, in music was in many ways detrimental to music, in my opinion, because the idea was similarly to what happened with. Okay, this is a totally different subject, but similarly, what's that?
I like the subject.
It is interesting, but the idea that anybody with a garage, any garage band can make something profound, which I think Nirvana did create some profound stuff there. It wasn't about the music, it was about the message that they were trying to convey with what they were doing. And in my opinion, that took away from the musical aspects of it. And in a way, many of the genre defining stuff that's happened in the 20th century has been like this. Yeah. But that to me, I think was the defining thing for the 90s in many ways.
You don't, I mean, like the Sex Pistols,
yeah, they did that too.
Punk
totally.
band,
yeah.
Same thing.
Exactly.
Same style, almost.
Same thing where anybody can, punk in general has been like this as well. It's just that this was like that moment for the 90s, I think.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah.
But
and that's why I'm not.
The lyrics are awesome.
Yeah, and like honestly, I agree with much of the stuff, the ideas, and I think that they're thought provoking and meaningful. But as far as the music itself is concerned,
it's simple.
It's very not my kind of thing.
You like Nickelback, I know. It's a little bit more complex.
No.
Yeah, they have like 2 extra members and stuff. Yeah.
I don't think it's more complex. I listen to my elitist piano jazz, some Ting Ball Trio. No.
Go Penguin.
Go Penguin, man. Yes. Love me some
Fantastic.
Go Penguin.
Best close back. This is always a big one that I always forget like what's the good close back under $1,000. And like my go-to is like the Elysia, but you can't get that anymore. Well, you can, but
you can get it for $500.
Yeah, from whatever. Yeah. But I'd say Elysia, AKG, whatever.
No, wait. How much is the Atticus?
Oh, that falls under that.
Is it $1,000?
I think it's right
around that range, maybe a little over.
If you can afford $1,000 headphone, you can afford an Atticus.
Yeah, I would say Atticus is
or maybe an Icon. I don't know if that's maybe a little more, but
Mud Honey. But yeah, I'd say Elysia, one of the AKGs, the
Audeze Sine.
Oh, Sine. There we go. Perfect. Another one that you
can't really, Sine.
You can't really get easily. God,
yeah, but see, this is where there's a big gap, in my opinion, as far as the market is concerned, is closebacks under $1,000 that are. Like, you've got good. There are some that are there, but like I feel like there is an opportunity there.
Yeah,
if you can really good value in terms of the open backs. Yeah, like
Teaks. Yeah,
Teaks. Yeah. But I'm just trying to think like there's the Aeon 2s, but I have a hard time with that because they have no dynamics. Hey, wait, have you heard the Open? Okay, this is the thing.
I don't know. I don't remember which ones I listened to, but everyone I've listened to is
the Open was one of the weirdest sounding headphones I've ever heard. But the Close I thought was pretty good. Like the Total Balance I thought was fine. With you had to use the inserts because the treble was like a bit murderous. But and I also like the EQ.
To the Aria.
No, I know, but the Aria is more balanced than that.
I know. I listen to the Aria and that thing is murderous.
Yeah. Well, it's not bright in the Aeon 2. It's just a peak at like 8K or something like that.
I have this that Jeremy sent me.
What is that Audio Technica? No, wait. Oh, is that Neumann?
The Neumann Berlin Neumann NDH20.
Okay, I'd have to. Yeah. Also, the Aurora's Audio Australis. Yeah, I have to try that one out.
And this is pretty good. I only listened to it briefly, but it's an interesting little jam.
Interesting.
Closeback dynamic.
But see, like I would almost want a planar. I'm just thinking like of other types of headphones. The weird thing about the Aeon 2s, they would be the ideal headphone under, because it's comfy too, right? Mm-hmm. Be the ideal closeback under 1,000 if they. My biggest complaint with it is that there was something really weird going on with the phase in that headphone. Like it almost sounded like it wasn't a minimum phase device, and there was some weird resonance where like normally time domain information isn't actually that relevant in minimum phase devices, which is what headphones are supposed to be. But in that case, it sounded like there was something additional there that was like cluttering it up somehow. And that was after a long time of trying to get it to sound the way that I wanted it to, and I eventually had to give up.
Someone mentions the Newman most uncomfortable according to anyone, and so Jeremy, the guy that sent the Newman to me, he said he sent these with it, even though I have my own. He's like, you need this to make it comfortable, and it has like extra Velcro straps to make this actually fit it.
Those things are amazing.
Someone says Oppo PM3, but you can't get that anymore, can you?
Nope, can't get it anymore. Which, funnily enough,
that would have been.
It's the Drop Panda.
Drop Panda.
No, but it's not really.
It's not. Yeah. But I don't think these are the 2s. These aren't the 3s. These are the 2s.
It's the same driver, right?
Yeah, these are the 2s.
Same driver. I think it's even the same look.
Yeah. I should see if I can get one of those in for review.
The 2s will be coming your way. The box of headphones is coming your way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Does he have a measurement for it?
He does, yeah.
Okay, I'll check that out. It's super warm,
kind of
isn't
bloaty.
it?
Yeah, it's kind of bloaty.
Yeah. But I mean, IEQ stuff, right? So.
Oh, yep. Sony. The Sony
it's a planar, ECDQ.
900.
Yeah.
People really like that. That's been really going.
Sony
900 MD 900 or the
CST.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's
about
like
that
the 1980s.
Yeah, the 1980s for and they still make them. And then
I guess keep saying Night Owl reigns supreme, dude.
Night Owl.
Is that Terran?
No.
Is that Terran?
I think it's Last Rhino trolling us.
Okay.
Fostex Ebony, but you can't get that anymore either. Oh no, Fostex you can. Sorry, the TRX series you can't. But you can get a Fostex TH610 and a 900.
You can buy ebony cups from Emu.
Okay.
Oh, CD900 ST.
Right now.
They're 200.
Oh yeah, no, I have heard of the C900 ST. That's definitely something I've heard of.
Yeah, and then there's the MDR7 506, but apparently the 900 ST.
That's the one from CanJam.
Yeah, from CanJam. That's only $100. But apparently the 900 ST you can get. They do custom mods for them in Japan that make them supposed to be pretty fantastic, and then you can get the COS special COS pads to make them kind of even better, supposedly. So well under $1,000. And Drifting Bunnies loves them.
M70X. Yeah, I need to try that.
What is that? Just like a bigger M50? It's like.
Wait, is it M70X? No, maybe it's the R. I forget which one it is. There's some Audio Technica that's supposed to be really good.
The W whatever, isn't it the wooden cup ones?
No, not the wooden cup. Well, I heard
there's the W1000Z and the 2000Z and whatever else. I'm not sure.
I don't remember.
Someone says, "Boys." So it starts. Boys, where can I find good headphone cables in Canada? Anyone know balanced cable stuff? I
order from China.
But I recommend like getting something like Periap cables or. So I've bought some Surf Audio cables that were okay.
I like Sky cables on eBay. Sky Audio cables. You're pretty affordable.
You could just do some. You're gonna have to pay import regardless for Canada, because Canada. I blame Canada as well for Nickelback and a number of other things, including the Harman bass shelf.
It's revenge. It's revenge for that.
Nickelback is revenge for the Harman bass shelf.
And the beads too.
And the beads.
Oh yeah, no. That's,
import tax. Import tax is what is revenge for those things.
I was thinking about that today. The Beebs is Canadian and has okay. It's just that couldn't have been a coincidence. There's got to be some writer there being like, I know what we're gonna do. He's Canadian. Okay, JVC FW 100,000, 10,000. I don't know if there's supposed to be that
10K.
many zeros.
Yeah, I have not tried that.
A900X.
That's the audio.
AD900X.
Yes, the audio.
Have not tried that either.
W5000, A1000. W5000, is that the one you're thinking of?
That's the wood one, right?
No, I don't know what I'm thinking of. I'm gonna look it up.
Okay, Shure. I actually get a lot of questions about the Shure SRH 1540.
Oh, yeah, people keep saying that. I've been seeing that too.
I haven't tried the pads.
Is it the AP2000 Ti? That's like the $1,200 one.
No, it's not a wood one.
It's not the metal.
Between Blessing 2, Monarch, and Clairvoyance, what will be the best to give me sound closer to the aria? No, is the answer.
No, yeah.
Blessing 2 is closest out of all of those, but because the Monarch and the Clairvoyance are much bassier.
Yes, the Blessing 2 is probably the closest in terms of just pure FR tonality.
Yeah, but none of them
like
are.
Aria.
Yeah, no, none of them are that.
That's the closest to you getting.
The Blessing 2 is more of that than the Aria, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was pretty bright.
A Bear Dynamic, yeah, Bear Dynamic is bright. Just kidding. They're not necessarily; they're just peaky.
Yeah.
It's R. I think it's R70X.
R70X. Okay, yeah, no, I've heard of that, but I've not heard it. No. MSR7B is another one. That's the wireless one? I think that's one of them is wireless. I remember trying out like a long time ago, like 3 or 4 years ago, the MSR7B, and it was so uncomfortable. So uncomfortable. I just could not deal with it.
I can't get past the Audio Technica's weird.
It's amazing, actually. When
things.
MSR7 came out, it was pretty good for the price, but man, things have changed so much since then. I thought that was actually a pretty good headphone back when it first came out, but man, it's gotten a lot better in the last
Audio
7 years.
Is a big brand, and they've still been doing things like the ADX 5000 stuff like that, but like they're not in this space the way that they are in the consumer space.
The consumer space is where they're killing it with their
but they do make headphones that span like a lot different price ranges, so it's just they're not as strong in the audiophile world, which is interesting.
I think they're really big
they probably are in Japan. I just wish they sounded better. The ADX 5000 had good performance, but yeah, it was bright. That was a bright headphone. Which is fine. I think the thinking might be people who
different audience
for starters, but also if you think about who can afford $2,000 pair of headphones, they're not kids with ridiculously sensitive hearing. Which actually explains a lot. There's a lot of, I know Marcello's got the HE1000 SE right now. He's evaluating that. That is a bright headphone.
That's a bright headphone.
That's too much for me.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot. All right. We've been going for over 2 hours, so we should probably call it. Thanks everybody for your questions. We will see you guys. I'm not sure if we'll be doing this next week. It's coming around to the holiday time. Oh, it's my birthday on Monday. I keep forgetting about that.
Happy early birthday.
I was gonna do a live stream for it, but I don't know if we're gonna actually end up doing that.
Turning 21.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna be 21. This baldness is just premature. It's why I'm so treble sensitive and I'm such a bass head. I'm the reason why the Harman target is bass boosted.
Yep.
I'm not to blame for Nickelback though, so can't put that on my feet.
No, I'm pretty sure you probably said, "Man, I hate Nirvana, but I wish Canada had a Nirvana-like band that was better."
You wish what?
Really better. That's like this. You probably said, "I hate Nirvana. I wish Canada had something equivalent to them, but better." And then Nickelback came out.
And then Nickelback came out.
Yeah.
Now Nickelback
is your fault. This is what's
Nickelback like Creed worse.
Creed is probably worse.
Yeah.
Worse than Nickelback? I don't know.
Yeah, I think
they're both pretty bad. They're both pretty bad.
That's a tough one,
and I think Nirvana's better than both.
I would take the Bush over those two.
Yeah.
As Bush is representative of the UK version of crap rock music. Yeah.
Okay. We've just made everybody mad in this stream. Yeah. That's the conclusion. Is that everybody, all the Canadians hate us because we've made fun of Canadians. And then all the people who like, grunge. Music from the 90s are like, what? He doesn't like Nirvana. Unsub. All right. On that note, thanks everybody for joining the stream. We will see you guys in the next one.
Yeah. Cheers.
Bye.